Let me tell a tale of a world where heroes walk among us, fighting through the darkness left by monsters and by selfish men. A tale of glory rent asunder, sacrifice and battles lost. Our heroes know not what awaits them, and still they carry on.
Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back. It has been a minute since our last stream, but we are back once again with some Dungeons and Dragons as always. My name is Pixel. I am back in the DM seat for this current campaign, these next two adventures that we're going to be running, and I am super duper pumped to be sharing the screen with these fine and lovely people. Who we will introduce here in just a second. But yeah, so welcome to the very first and sure to be incredible first episode of Ages of Ainor presents the Siege of Castle Rend. This adventure and the next one that we'll be playing are by MCDM Productions from their book Strongholds and Followers. This adventure will be called the Siege of Castle Rend. So it's kind of designed to set up our characters to use mechanics from this book. They really don't come into play as much till closer to the end of it, but you will eventually sort of see us engaging with these like new mechanics and the content from these books, as well as the follow-up book Kingdoms and Warfare. And then once we finish the Siege of Castle Rend, we will continue on to hopefully play the Regent of Bedegar, which is the sort of sequel adventure from Kingdoms and Warfare, as well as using like the intrigue and warfare rules from that book. So you may see us using those materials, those rules. They might be unfamiliar to you if you know a lot of 5th edition. You also may see some homebrew stuff. For instance, we will be using a homebrew critical hit rule for this campaign. So whenever a PC or an enemy scores a critical hit, rather than just like rolling twice as many damage dice and adding the modifier, we will add like a max damage dice and then roll a damage dice on top of it. Just because there's kind of nothing worse than like, yeah, I got a critical hit. Oh no, I rolled ones on both my damage dice and did less damage than I do like every other round. So it kind of makes critical hits like more powerful and more meaningful, but it also applies to the enemies as well as the player. So it really can make these significant swings in combat, can make things dramatic, but also sometimes awesome, sometimes scary. But then as always, we are going to get into the game here in just a few moments, but we're going to go over our usual housekeeping things first. So first things first, for folks in chat, try to remember whenever we move on to the map screens of the stream, you will be seeing the DM perspective, and that means that you may see things on screen that the players don't see and don't know about, so try not to spoil that. You may see like monsters in the next room, or you may see like an ancient red dragon about to tear the roof off the end and eat the party's face off, so try not to give those things away in chat. Because some of the cast like may have chat up to interact with you guys, and so they would like to be as surprised as they should be. Secondly, please remember that D&D is a complex game with a lot of rules where we are also like improvising a story together as a group. So we may like play fast and loose with the rules sometimes. We may forget rules and make stuff up. I may just get stuff wrong. So, you know, if we like have a rules question that we're trying to figure out and you know it, feel free to just like type that in chat. But also, if like the moment has passed, we're not going to go back and like retcon and change things, generally speaking. So, you know, never has happened here, but nobody lose your mind in chat if we do a rule wrong, because we don't have a lot of patience for that. In that vein, other things we don't have a lot of patience for are people being dickheads. So don't do that. We try to keep this space as like open and welcoming as we can, to the extent that that's possible on the internet. So keep that internet toxicity to a minimum. We, like I said, don't have patience for people being like abusive or hateful in chat, whether that's to other viewers or to the players on stream, regarding like character choices, knowledge of the game, or rules, anything like that. Never been a problem before, but you know, we do like to be upfront about what we do here. And then also a final reminder, we do release the show on YouTube after each episode sometime during like the following week or weekend usually. So if you miss an episode or part of an episode, don't fret. You can still catch us after the fact if you need to be caught up before the next time we go live. And then last thing we're going to do is go around and kind of introduce ourselves and our not our characters yet. So yeah, we're going to kind of jump around to everybody. So we're going to start with me. My name is Pixel. I will be GM for this. I GM a lot of the games here on stream at Ages of Ainor, as well as I do some gaming streaming over on Facebook at facebook.com/hammerandpixel. I have just started a playthrough of Dark Souls 1, sort of in honor of Elden Ring coming out. So that'll be fun if you guys want to check that out. And I am going to throw it over to Trish.
Hi, my name is Trish McFarlane, and I am actually old as dirt and older than some dirt, but I love to play D&D, and I'm really looking forward to this.
Excellent. Jacob, I'm just going to go through my screen the way I have you guys lined up.
Cool. Hi, everyone. I'm Jacob. You might know me from some other Ages of Ainor streams, such as Horde of the Dragon Queen or Waterdeep Dragon Heist. I'm really excited to be here. I'm really excited to take place in this stream.
Excellent. And Kinsey, we'll go ahead and do you next because you're right there.
Hi, my name's Mackenzie. This is my first official campaign with you guys, and I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah. And one of Kinsey's first, I think, real campaigns kind of ever, right? So absolute kudos to you for being willing to do that on stream.
Yes.
Very significant kudos there, friend. And we will hop down to Beast.
Hey, I'm Beast.
Great. And we'll hop over to Jesse. Too many J's. Two is too many. So just one of you change your name. Oh, we're about to.
Yeah. I'm Jesse. As always, it's a motherfucking treat to be here. Thank you again for the invite, and I'm really excited to get started. So
excellent. And Taylor, I believe you are our last new friendly PC.
Last but not least, my name is Taylor. I have played D&D with Pixel and his family before, so I'm not new to it, but still fairly new enough. But I'm very excited for this session. It's going to be so much fun.
Yay! Okay, excellent. Anything else? No. So, without further ado, friends, we are going to jump right into it. We see dark but shining plate mail boots walking on flagstones as they cross a threshold into a dimly lit interior. Shortly after, the heavy clang of the boots on stone is muffled as they step onto a plush red rug covering this interior floor. In the shadows behind the boots, we see beautifully worked, heavy wooden doors leading elsewhere into the building. But we follow the boots. After a few dozen steps across this plush red carpets, the boots echo loudly as they move onto marble tiles. We hear a heavy door being opened as the boots once again cross into a new space. They walk in front of massive marble columns and step onto another plush red rug for several dozen more steps. As they do, our perspective changes. We fall slightly behind the boots and begin to pan slowly upwards, seeing a knight in dark, shining armor make his way into this room. Past them, we begin to see a raised dais and can just make out bright plate mail boots and what must be a throne. Before the throne are 4 kneeling figures, 3 in dark shining armor, much like the boots we have followed, and 1 in green and gold robes. They face away from us, head bowed. We see no faces. As the boots get further away from us, we begin to see more of their owner. They wear a tabard over the armor, a white flowing cloth with a dark star in the center, over top of entwined black roses. The owner of the boots gets further away from us, and we see his bald, shining head and the edges of a dark beard from behind. The figure continues on towards the throne as the kneeling figure towards the kneeling figures, before stopping and himself kneeling among the others. As he kneels, our view pulls back to reveal the occupant of the throne. A blonde, bearded man in bright silver armor sits and regards the kneeling figures. What have you to report? Things are progressing well, my lord. The outlying villages respect your rule. They understand the importance of securing our land for our people, and more so every day. Good. See to it that you all continue your efforts. You will be furnished with my orders to be delivered to the villages. Now that we are secure here, I wish to deal with those troublesome undesirables. The kneeling figures murmur their assent and rise as our view pans upwards to take in the dim heights of the room and the columns on this majestic hall. Almost like so many tall, white trees. And sort of exactly in the place in our view where the nearest column just was, we cut to a tree by the side of a dirt road. The sun is shining. A lazy breeze wafts through sparse trees on either side of a road and rolling hills. We are well past the outlying farms surrounding Bedegar Keep, nearing the crossroads to Gravesford. The land is peaceful, and nature is calm as we see a curious group of travelers plodding along the road on foot. Roz, you are in the front of the group. You notice something odd in the road up ahead. Is that... It looks like maybe a mudslide. No, those are broken down wagons. And as all of you begin to approach behind Roz, it becomes clear. There are several broken down wagons and carts and some boxes and barrels arranged across the road just past a fork where a small trail leads off to the north. The peacefulness of the day is broken, and all of you, as adrenaline begins to pump, realize what this is. An ambush, as several cruel-looking brigands emerge from the trees on the other side of broken carts, draw their heavy crossbows, and take aim. Gang, I'm gonna need y'all to roll initiative. Before you do, I have to bring you onto the map sheet, so nobody click the button just yet. And if you will please select your token character on the sheet here before you click that button, that will help us all out tremendously. And I need to roll initiative for my people. Okay, so at this point, you guys can see they are starting to come out into view. Some thugs and brigands sort of moving their way, kind of coming out from behind some trees over towards these carts here. They sort of like move and begin to like take cover and draw crossbows to aim at you. Where's a good spot to put this? Okay, and I need to zoom our map out where we can sort of see everybody. Okay, so let's take a look. Oh, before I do that, I gotta roll my own initiative, guys. I'm just gonna roll one for each type of... Okay, that's certainly a thing I could roll.
What do I click? I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. So what you'll do, you'll go to the journal. So if you see on the right side, you have chat, and you have these little tiny buttons in gray up at the top of the right side of the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the second button over for you should be the journal. And it should have a little sheet that has Enna's name on it.
Yeah.
Okay, if you click that, it'll bring up your character sheet.
Yes.
Just under the name Enna, you'll see a thing that says like bio and info, character sheet, and attributes and abilities.
Yeah.
You want character sheet.
Yeah.
And then from there should be a box that says initiative, like midway down the middle of the page.
Oh, did I do it?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, you did.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
And then you can keep that open, but on the right side of the screen, you can go from the journal back to chat, and it should stay open.
Okay.
And then if you double click the very top of the sheet near where your name is, it sort of like shrinks it down to this little box, which you can double click to open back up, just so you can see the map while you're doing stuff. Okay, so that's that guy. 1 second. Stand by. I have to fix something on this character sheet. This would be more dramatic if I was better at Roll20, but you know, who amongst us can ever really be good at Roll20, right? Why have you selected? I must, right? God, why are these people? I could have sworn I changed their stuff to be correct, but apparently not. Why don't I check this guy before? Okay, I had the one that I checked, I of course had correct in my thing. Okay. All right, so, oh man, fun times. It looks like our cruel and vicious enemies have gotten the drop on our players. Uh-oh. And so they're going to take aim at you guys with the heavy crossbows. So I am just going to roll. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 of these guys. And so how many? There's 6 of you guys. So Soren, the first shot comes at you. That's an 11 to hit.
Does not hit.
Okay. Soren, the second shot comes at you. That's a 17 to hit.
Does not hit.
Okay. If these all roll 2s, that's 5. Okay. Farren, a shot comes at you. That's a 20 to hit.
It hits.
Okay. I don't want to tell you how to live your life. I do believe monks have a reaction. They can like redirect arrows, I think. Just check your sheet for that. It might be a subclass thing, but
yeah, Farren has it.
okay. So Farren, you don't have to, but you may choose to use your reaction to try to deflect this missile.
I would like to do that.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think you roll a dice and subtract from my attack roll. He rolled a 20 on that attack, not a nat 20, but a mod 20. So
D10 plus Dex mod plus monk level. So a D10 plus 8.
okay. So and then if you knock it down below your AC, then you catch the arrow.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. So
that's a 10.
that's a 10. So yeah.
Yeah.
So 2 of these fire at Soren. Soren, do you have a shield?
Yeah, Soren has a shield.
Yeah.
And scale mail.
Yeah. So Soren, you pull up your shield. One of the arrows clangs off your shield. The other one clangs off your pauldron. And then as you guys sort of like scatter and start to duck, one of these arrows comes in and Farren just catches it directly out of the air.
I think Farren's allowed to throw it back.
Yeah. If Farren would like to spend a key point to do that, Farren can, in fact, make an attack roll with the arrow.
Oh, you didn't have to use it.
I think I'm just gonna like more of a surprise, and I caught this. That was cool, but I'm gonna toss it away.
Nice. Very cool. Okay, so Enna, one of these shots is coming at you.
Yep.
Oh, that's a 21 to hit.
Yeah.
And Enna cannot catch arrows, so that is 4 points of piercing damage. So Farren behind you catches one, and I think maybe you turn and loot and and see that, and one of them wings you a little bit. And then last shot. That is coming back at Farren again. Good gosh, these 6s, I tell you what. That is another 21 to hit. You unfortunately have already used your reaction. So that is 1 point of piercing damage. So you like almost get to it in time to catch the second one, but it does sort of cut your hand as it goes by. I think Roz now. Your turn is next, and Roz, So if you would please describe your character to us.
Yes. Raz is a tabaxi, female valor bard. It is a tabaxi who is about 5'5". She is clad in sort of thick linens and a conical hat ringed with fur. And on her hip is a scimitar, a weapon from the west, a land far from Bedegar. And in her left hand is a well-worn shield with many deep gashes and nicks in it, and slung across her back is a crude lyre, which is surely out of tune in the heat of battle.
Excellent. And so Roz, as you begin to look and plot your strategy of how to respond to this attack, you're looking at these sort of broken down barrels and wagons that these now that these thugs have sort of popped up and shot their crossbows at everyone. They sort of duck down behind and take a little bit of cover. And you see these broken wagons and carts and barrels, and you notice the sun sort of glinting off of the bindings on one of the wooden barrels, just like the wooden barrel that one of your cousins used to hide behind. So we sort of like transition into a moment. We see a dozen young tabaxi kittens sort of still growing into their paws outside of a red and blue tent. We see varying ages. They're sort of playing in this sort of outdoor area. And there's a number of different things going on. You can see in the background, there's one of them who has a sort of like striking tabby pattern, has like crouched and is preparing to like pounce on an older tabaxi who has dark fur with some like white splotches. And we see one of the tabaxi, I think maybe we would recognize as Roz, is sort of being played with. There's an older tabaxi with a string. This tabaxi is like a calico, I think. And they have a string with like a ball attached to it, and they're like flicking it out. How old is Roz at this point?
Roz is still just a little kitten. I think Roz is maybe only like the equivalent of like a 6-year-old in human years. And Roz is just a pudgy little tortoise shell, dark, sort of a dark orange and black mix of a kitten.
Yeah. And as we see Roz like batting at the string and playing, and sort of like, you know, the pupils dilate as Roz goes into like hunter playing mode, this string glints in the sunlight and becomes a lute string being plucked by an older, practiced tabaxi hand. And now we're inside the tent, and we see more of these sort of tabaxis, and they're like purring and chanting. And I think if you speak this language, that I think is probably unique to them, you hear them telling like stories of their lineage. You hear them telling stories of their heroism. What is Roz doing in this scene?
Roz is sitting on a cushion in the tent, sort of crisscross applesauce, and is eyes closed, very softly purring to herself as she listens to the sort of oral history of her clan, the clan of Hercules.
Yeah. And as Roz is sort of learning to chant in time with the other tabaxi, we see an older cat's paw curls around the hammer of a dulcimer, that they, are striking against this stringed instrument. And the paw that curls around the hammer of that dulcimer sort of shifts in our perspective, and we see now this ornate door, and we see curling around just the edge of it as it pushes open this double door. We see a hand that is gnarled and bony, with long, thin claws, dirt under the fingernails, sort of like maybe some warts or pustules on the hand as it pushes over. And we see a hag creeping in to what appears to be a throne room. It's very different from the throne room that we saw before. In this, sunlight sort of shafts into the room through these high open parts of the ceiling. There's a much more sort of curved bend to the architecture, which is made out of a sort of brighter sandstone as opposed to the sort of darker stone of the previous room that we saw. And we can see this group of tabaxi sort of lying in wait. We see that like ropes and strings, almost like cat's cradle in a way, has been strung up along these columns in this room, and there are tabaxi sort of hiding and waiting up there. And this hag sort of comes into the room, and you hear these yowls and everything from yowls to roars as these tabaxi sort of leap into battle. And we pan, and we see behind the throne, we see an older Roz. How old is Roz at this point?
Roz is like the equivalent of a 16-year-old, so firmly in her reckless teenage years, not quite fully grown into her adult body yet, but much leaner. She's lost all of the baby fat that we saw on her as a kitten, and now she's a lean, mean outdoor cat.
Yeah. And so as we passed over the throne, we saw a child that had been placed on the throne that was asleep. A young human with dark skin and dark hair, sleeping peacefully on the throne as the hag approached just before these cats leapt into action. And then we pan behind the throne and we see Roz. We see another cat, another tabaxi about Roz's age, hiding behind the throne as well. And this is a black tabby. And she, you can hear the battle going on behind. It sounds honestly like things are maybe not going so well for the cats who have attacked. And the tabaxi that's back there with Roz sort of turns over to you and says, Roz, cousin, I am scared. Will we die today, you think? Should we run?
Hold firm. This is our hour, Talana. Remember the blood that flows through our veins, the mighty Hercules, our great hero ancestor, bids us to do great deeds. Now we must strike.
Yeah, and sort of being egged on by by Roz in this moment, Talana sort of steels herself and draws a blade and leaps around the throne, and we see just as this hag, claws outstretched, like is reaching down for this child, while there's like, I think there's another tabaxi probably with its claws stuck into the hag's leg, that it has dragged up to the throne. Talana leaps out and cuts the hand off of the hag as she reaches for the child on the throne, and the hand sort of like spins through the air and lands with a thud in front of Roz. But actually, our perspective shifts again, and what now lands in front of Roz is not a hand, but a paw. And we're no longer behind the throne. We're in sort of a dusty, outdoors kind of earthen, probably like a canyon of some kind. And Roz, you are hiding behind a boulder. How old is Roz at this point?
Roz looks very close to the age that we saw her as she and her friends were being attacked by bandits on the road. The only difference is that she does not have an eye patch over one of her eyes.
And we hear, amongst sort of pained yowls, we hear... I am Maku, the Undying Flame, the Sultan of Sorrow, the Vizier of Violence, the Pasha of Pain, the Emir of Evisceration, the Caliph of Carnage, the Shahansa of Suffering, the Potentate of Power, the Raja of Run. And I am the Undying Flame, and like my ceaseless burning, so too shall be your torment. And we sort of pan behind the boulder. We see this massive Ifriti, a man of red skin, flaming hair, standing some 15 feet tall, dressed in like fine jewels and sort of a vest and this like cloth and metal armor, wielding a flaming scimitar as he is just like hacking into these cat warriors. What does Roz do?
Roz turns and looks at her littermate Talana, who is also cowering behind the boulder, and says to her, now is the time to strike. With great deeds given to us through our bloodline, the heroism of Hercules lives on in us. Go, my sister. Finish this, join the family Hiskers, and live on in glory as we are intended.
Yeah, and we see once again Talana sort of steels herself, flexes her claws, like raises her hackles, draws a blade, and rushes out from behind the boulder with a yowl. And immediately, as Roz, you sort of peek around the boulder, there is a wall of flame as Talana and 7 of your remaining family members are immolated in a flash, gone in an instant, as Maku, the Undying Flame, destroys them.
Roz.
And the sort of the flame shining sort of now reminds you again. We sort of come back into Roz's moment now with there's like a metal band on one of the barrels that you had initially been looking at that drew your mind there in the first place. And the gleam of it sort of reminds you of that flame.
Roz draws her scimitar, raises both arms aloft, and hisses wildly, screaming. Turns around and sees Enna having been struck by a bolt from the attackers. Shouts, now is the time for great deeds. Remember the heroism of your ancestors. Death to all who would stand in our way. And grants Enna bardic inspiration. Roz is going to use her tabaxi feline agility to move 60 feet up behind this this tree, and is going to take the dodge action.
Okay. Excellent. So Roz sort of focuses in on defense and prepares to dodge any attacks that may come. Roz, make a perception check for me.
Sure. 16.
Okay. And
everyone just sees Roz like charge across the field.
Okay.
Just hackles.
yeah,
raised.
so Roz, you are focused on these thugs that you see directly in front of you. Perdita, if you would please describe your character.
Well, I too am a tabaxi. I too am female, and well, I'm lovely to look at, but I have a little bit more avoirdupois than perhaps Master Tabaxi does. And, well, some might even call me plump, but I am adorable, I must say. I was sort of limping along behind the crowd because it is a very long day, and well, I haven't had anything to eat for several hours, and so I'm quite hungry. And well, I didn't see what was happening ahead of us because, well, I was looking in my pack for just a little bit of something, some nuts perhaps, or a bit of cheese to tide me over to lunch.
Yeah, and as you look up from your pack, having seen arrows bouncing off of Soren, hitting Enna, you see Farren deftly pluck one out of the air and attempt to catch another that comes in, but this one grazes them. You see amongst as you look ahead to see what shot these arrows, you see one of the, you see the thugs and they're ducking behind the carts, and one of the carts sort of has some rope strewn across, just from, must have been part of its cargo, must have been securing a package that was on it or something. And our perspective shifts and we see a much more taut, thicker rope, sort of shifting gently, attached to a large ship. We see Perdita. How old is Perdita in this?
Well, I'm
moment?
not very old. I was something like 7 summers when this happened.
Yeah. And we see, so this very young tabaxi, about, just a hair older than Roz when we first saw her, is hanging onto the rigging of a large ship that is slowly sort of drifting out from dock. And Perdita, as you look back at the crowd waving at the ship that is taking off, you see your parents.
Yes.
2 tabaxis. There's your dad, who was a sort of rich red tabby, and your mother, who was a black cat, resulting in your particular sort of striations and colorations of the tortoiseshell. And I think this is the last time that you saw them as you drift away. And
I'm waving, even
Yeah.
though I do not know if they can see me. And I say, I will make you proud, Papa. I will do well.
Yeah, and I don't think you can hear any response. They're lost in the crowd, as you sort of sail, and eventually they pass beyond the horizon, and we see the rope that was sort of taut. We now see somewhat larger paws, although not fully grown yet, are tying deftly a knot in a more loose rope on the ship that is sort of like swinging this has been pulled like to swing this sail around, and we see Perdita ties it off, and over the sort of sound of the ocean and the ship riding over the waves and the shouting of the men and women who sail, we hear faintly this gurgling sound of Perdita's stomach growling. And Perdita, you go into the kitchen and you see...
Of course I do.
You see your friend, the ship's cook. You see Jacques Pepinois. He is a human man in an apron, sort of with this kind of tan shirt and green like cuffs and belt. A cheerful man who sees you coming and says, "Oh, Perdita, stomach growling
Monsieur
again, I see."
Oh, Monsieur Jacques, I'm so hungry. I have worked so hard. Do you have a little something for your Perdita?
Oh, always coming in here begging for sweets and extra morsels.
But your food is so good. The best of any ship.
Flattery will get you everywhere. And he sort of takes a little bit of something off of a piece of meat that's like roasting on a spit nearby and sort of throws it towards Perdita. However, sort of before you can catch it, there is this little, is it a poodle or...
Well, I don't know what he is, but he's very quick, all right?
Yeah, there's a very quick and fairly small dog that sort of rushes in and jumps and kind of like parkours off of one of the counters to get high enough to like snap your morsel of meat out of the air in front of your hand and sort of like rushes off. And we see Perdita sort of turn and maybe even scamper on all fours in her sort of little sailor getup and crashes. The dog runs through the door, and we see Perdita sort of make her way through a door. But when she comes out the other side of the door, she doesn't exit onto the ship where she came in from, which we saw. She exits into a tavern, and Perdita is older now, grown, and is carrying a tray full of some drinks and food. Through this sort of busy tavern. There still is sort of like a sea vibe. You can see the tavern is full of a lot of folks who you would make out to be sailors. And Perdita sort of moves through the chairs and tables full of mostly sailors, but there are other tradespeople there and things, to a table with a quite peculiar individual with sort of dirty blonde moving almost into brunette hair. He is, maybe, it's like he has kind of shoulder length hair tied to like a half ponytail in the back to keep it out of his face. But even though he seems to be trying to hide it to some extent, you can tell that he, is more well off probably than most of the people who come through here. And Perdita sort of takes and presents this food to this individual.
Oh, monsieur, you are so handsome. And Perdita is honored to bring you some dinner. It is so good to see you, sir.
Oh, well, thank you, miss. It is much appreciated.
Oh, certainly, monsieur. I hope that you will enjoy.
Yes, well, I'm certain that I will enjoy anything brought to me by a darling creature such as yourself. And so he's very, very polite, and much more well-spoken than most of the rowdy sailors that you get in here. And you also notice is sitting here alone, curiously. And he sort of like, eats his meal, and
well, you know, I kept my eye on him because he was so very handsome, and it is mysterious that he is here all alone.
Yeah. And as the meal wraps up, he leaves a large tip on the table as he sort of nods at Perdita and stands up to leave.
Merci, monsieur. Come back again.
And he nods and smiles, and Perdita swipes the coin off the table and takes some of the dirty implements back into the kitchen. And as she does, you see your friend, the chef, Jacques, is he's cooking in this kitchen, and you see once again the dog kind of running through and causing a bit of a ruckus. And he says, "Oh, Perdita, would you chase the dog out of here? We are working."
Oh, Monsieur Jacques, naturellement.
Yeah,
Get away, little shoo-shoo, get away.
And we
chases
see,
him out the back door.
Yeah, so we see she kind of drops off the tray of plates and things near the dish area and takes off towards the back door, where the dog rushes out before her.
Oh, and because I'm very clever and very quick, I grab a piece of rope because I know that if I get that rope around that little dog's neck, I'll tie him up and he won't be in the kitchen anymore.
Yeah.
And because I know all about knots, I am tying the knot as I go to make a loop to put around the little shoo-shoo.
Yeah. And so, but as she rushes out, you notice actually that the individual that you just served seems to be being chased through sort of the alleyway behind this inn by some kind of a ruffian, and the individual that you had served the meal to appears to have like a couple of like cuts and scrapes. And they both have like blades drawn, and he's like rushing down the alleyway out of breath.
Oh, no, that will not do. And I will take my rope and my noose, and I will attempt to catch that man that is chasing the nice man that left me such a generous tip. So I'm going to try and get my rope around his arm so it jerks the knife and pulls him back, and Mr. Nice Person can escape.
Yeah, and so we see Perdita sort of tie what amounts to a lasso into this rope and sling it at this assailant, and it sort of catches around the assailant and drags him down to the ground. And the other individual sort of turns, seeing the opportunity to turn the tables here, and moves in to fight. And I don't think we see the full resolution of that scene as the rope kind of pulls taut and then goes slack again and is draped over and goes slack again, as Perdita kind of approaches. And as she does, back behind in the sort of like alley-ish area, there are like some stables nearby where they tie up some of the horses. And there's kind of like a mud puddle that Perdita is stepping around as she is walking towards this altercation to go help. And then the perspective shifts once again, and the puddle is no longer water in mud, is no longer dirt in the alleyway outside of this tavern. This is, it looks like, is that the ground is stone here, and in the dark, like with kind of torchlight, we see the puddle has a more reddish hue as Perdita steps through in this corridor.
No. And with a sense of urgency, Perdita begins to run.
Yeah. And the puddle that we saw, the red in the torchlight, you see, reminds you of the shape of the blood that is sort of spilling down Farren's arm right next to you, as we sort of come back to Perdita in the current moment.
Oh.
What does Perdita do?
She says, not before lunch. Oh. And she moves from where she is over to behind the rock as she attempts to hide, but she also whips out her short bow, and she's going to aim in the direction of the very first wagon that is the closest to her acquaintance Roz. And Perdita is going to attempt to shoot.
Okay. So first, you're attempting to hide and you, as a rogue, have a bonus action. You can do that. So go ahead and give me a stealth check.
Well, I will when I can find it. Is that a skill check?
It is. It's a skill check. Yeah.
Well, I got an 18.
Okay, 18. Yeah. That would make you hidden from the folks here. So you'll have advantage on this attack. And you're using a short bow?
Yes, I am.
Oops, I gotta... Okay, and who
So
are you
I hit
shooting
it
at?
once, and the advantage will show up also, correct?
What? Yes. What is the range on your short bow, Perdita?
I think it is between 80 and
80.
120
Beautiful. Yeah.
feet.
So you have line to be able to hit just about any of these thugs. They do have partial cover, which will give them a +2 AC. Do you have anything from your subclass that changes that fact? I don't think you do, but
I don't think so. I think with my short bow, I can but shoot.
okay. Yeah. So you'll have advantage on this attack, but they have a little bit of extra AC. So go ahead and roll that attack. And when you roll it, it should just 20 to hit. Yeah. Nice. So that hits. So you can go ahead and roll your attack and sneak attack damage because you were hidden.
Well, the regular is 7.
Okay. And which one of them are you attacking? Sorry.
The very first one, the one that
Okay.
is the closest to Roz.
Beautiful. Okay. And go ahead and roll that sneak attack.
Well, it didn't do anything.
Okay. Let's pull you up here.
Oh, there it
Okay,
did.
there
I
it
didn't
goes.
hit it in the right place.
Okay.
Oh,
10
I did
more.
10 more.
Nice. Yeah, and so that individual, you land a solid hit. That bow sinks in deep, and you hear a gurgle and some curses from behind the wagon, as a little bit too much of their like back and side was poking out from behind that, as they kind of like saw Roz rushing up and sort of backed away a little bit, and sort of peeked out just too much on the other side of that wagon. Which brings us to Farren. Farren, if you would please describe your character.
Hi, I'm Farren. I am an Air Genasi monk, trained in the ways of the 4 elements. I am standing at a crisp 5'5", part of the shorty squad. I got like the icy blue skin, very clear that I am not human, even though I still have human-like features.
Yeah. And your kind of, what is it? Tealish, bluish hair sort of always seems to like wave as if there's a wind, and your clothes kind of ruffle as if there's a sort of perpetual breeze around you, even when you are inside. It's less noticeable here, where there is actually a nice breeze wafting by. And then Farren, yeah, so you have been hit. You've taken a graze, really, right? After you caught this other arrow directly out of the air. And you too look towards your attackers and fixate on one of these overturned barrels. And we are once again sort of taken back. And Farren, the barrel reminds you of this large barrel of rice, and you are sort of like being instructed and shown to like scoop the rice out of this barrel as some individuals are kind of like coming up to you in a queue to get like each one has a little bowl, and you are putting rice into these bowls. And next to you is a taller dark elf man who has sort of taken you under his wing. He is has his hair sort of tied back in like a top knot with a kind of, or not a top knot, but in sort of hair's tied back in a knot with a wooden implement sort of through the knot to kind of keep it in place. And it's sort of shaved on the sides of the bottom, and he's sort of has this purplish skin, white hair and red eyes of the dark elf people. This is your mentor, Jivkin Tassar, and he is sort of like showing you what to do. How old is Farren at this point?
Probably like end of middle school, start of high school, so maybe like 15-ish.
Okay, yeah. So we see sort of an adolescent Farren who is sort of helping kind of give out these alms to these these needier individuals. And then we see that as you sort of look over at Jivkin, who gives you a smile as you are helping them, and the scene shifts as he turns his head kind of back away from you towards what else he's doing, and now everything else shifts around him as well, and he is sort of kneeling a little bit ahead and off to your left side in this sort of open kind of room, and there are a lot of other individuals who share your sort of uniform of dress, kneeling in this place. But Jivkin, you know, is placed sort of at the front and left, which is kind of the place of honor in the class. As this teacher, a human man, is sort of lecturing these young monks. As you look around, you see a young half-elf woman, a human woman, there's a dragonborn man, and they're all around your age for the most part. None of them are older much than Jivkin. There's a half-orc or two, a human, there's one tiefling, a tabaxi, a couple of other humans. There's even a loxodon, which is like an elephant person, kind of taking up quite a bit of space in the corner of the room. And that we see this head monk is sort of lecturing, and we see some like writing on a large tablet behind them about honor and about duty and about, caring for your neighbor, all sorts of the important precepts of your order. And as we see them sort of like gesture over towards where Jivkin is kneeling in a way of sort of like making an example about one of the particular things that they're talking about, we see if they point over, and now Jivkin is not there, actually. And sort of we can tell by the angle of where they were pointing that they were pointing to that place of honor. But the whole room has shifted a little bit. Everyone is a little bit older now. And when we pan kind of the camera and see what they were pointing at, we now actually see Farren kneeling in that same spot where Jivkin was kneeling. And the atmosphere in the room is a little bit more subdued than it was before. Not that it was like boisterous or before, but there's kind of this quietness to the air, and the it's almost like a little bit of the color has been sort of leached out of everything. And from there we see Farren. Now you are you sort of, everything shifts around you from where you're kneeling in that place of honor into a room sitting across from the Grand Masters of your order, about 5 human men and women in various sort of older, some are, the youngest is probably middle-aged. And how old is Farren at this point? This is probably not too long before where we see you now.
Probably like 20-ish.
Yeah.
Like adult, but still in the eyes of the leadership here, very young.
Yeah. And I think that's the sentiment that we hear from the man in the middle of the group, as he says, I understand your concerns and your desires. You show great promise, Farren, but you are yet so young.
I know that I can prove myself, and that I'm ready to take on more tasks, and that I am better to use in different ways than what you've given me. I promise that I can prove myself.
Yeah, and one of the other ones responds, an older woman, you will be, I'm sure, given chances to do so. And we see then maybe some of these new duties. We see Farren, much like Jivkin did for you many years ago, helping to onboard new recruits, kind of show them around the facility. There are a lot of promising young folks that you notice, that you particularly think have a lot of opportunity to be great. And you see actually the Grand Master pulling aside. You've noticed this. One of the kids, is like the third son of some noble family from somewhere, and has been honestly causing trouble. And one of the Grand Masters sort of pulls him aside, and as you sort of walk by on the rest of showing everyone else around, something troubling actually passes Farren's ears. You hear the words, "shows great promise," which you don't agree with. And as Farren sort of walks by a room and shows, this is a clearly some sort of library. There are shelves and shelves stacked, and we're looking in from the outside as Farren leads this group of younger folks through. And we see piled into all of these shelves are scrolls, not really like books, but these like wrapped, bound, many of them on animal hide, in various states of age and things like that, scrolls piled high on these shelves. And our perspective shifts, and it is no longer kind of bright in the middle of the day with the sun coming in from these sort of high windows in the room. It's now candlelight. It's nighttime, and we see Farren in this room. Farren walks into the room holding a candle and moves deep into a back section of the room and begins looking among the scrolls, and you find eventually what you're looking for in these shelves as shelves of scrolls. You pull two scrolls and begin to read them. One of them, is the names of all of the most recent of the golden ones, which are those folks who are kind of like the first among the sort of younger monks of the monastery, the ones that are kind of the most valued, or show the most promise. And another one is a list of the Grand Masters of the monastery. And Farren, you're reading through, confirming suspicions that you've had for some time now. The first name on the list is Jivkin Tassar, your predecessor in this position, who vanished some time ago. And as you look at the names on the list of other folks who have held this position that you now hold, you see probably half or more of them are folks that you recognize as having non-human lineage. But as you look at the list of grandmasters who have actually ascended from this rank that you now hold, all of them are human. And as we see you kind of recognize this, the scrolls around Farren sort of begin to blow a little bit, even in the wind, even though they're inside. And the candle by which you are reading them snuffs out. And as the smoke sort of dissipates into the air above you, we see like the sort of old and cracked a little bit wood of one of the shelves. And then, once again, that perspective shift as the wood of the shelf becomes the wood of the door to the monastery, and we see it up close. But as we pan back, we realize that it is not attached to its frame. It is flat on the ground and broken. And we sort of spin upside down And then looking at Farren, we see you upside down, and then we turn you right side up as you stand at the door of the monastery, wind sort of whipping around you, having just blown it off the hinges. And stretching in front of you as we sort of pass over your head and behind you, taking your first steps, we see the road stretching out ahead with endless possibility and nothing left in front of you to stop you. And as we see that view of you from behind as you begin to take your first step outside of the monastery, we see you now taking your first steps toward whatever it is you're about to do next. What would you like to do?
All right. Let's see. Feel like is the middle of this map, is that just like a log?
Yes, that is a log that has fallen over.
Let's see. And then a tree a little farther ahead.
Yep, this is like a small tree. Or maybe even more like a bush almost.
How do I... This?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
then...
Now you can. Now when you click, it'll be the ruler.
I can't move that far, can I?
If you do it, you have your step of the wind that lets you dash as a bonus action, so you can get up to 60 feet without using your action, or you can use step of the wind and your regular dash and move up to 90 feet.
No, I just want to get there.
Yeah, so you can do a regular dash, not use a key point, 60 feet, and that's your turn. Or you can use step of the wind and get there and then do something else.
No, I just want to get...
Okay, cool. Bring it back to this.
All right, so I am moving a little closer to the folks, but I'm not quite engaging in a fight yet. I want to spend a little bit of time trying to see what exactly is happening, since we were kind of caught off guard.
Yeah, sure. Why don't you go ahead and make an insight check for me as you move there?
All right. Insight. Where?
The text box.
20. Okay. Yeah, so with a 20 insight, as you begin to rush up, you start to clock and notice things about these folks. You see that they are... they don't look like just down on their luck farmers or anything like that. Their gear is... It's not like well-kept military-style gear, exactly. Some of it is in slightly worse repair than you would expect in like the, in like a military force, but it's certainly nicer than almost any farmer could afford. They carry it with a kind of practiced ease. With a 20, you feel like maybe these are like deserters or, there's been some political turmoil in the barony as the previous baron died and the new regent took over. And so you get the sense that like it's not like these are exactly just poor folks down on their luck. You think maybe these are like opportunists who have kind of seized a moment of political turmoil to, make a little more money than they probably made just on their like soldiers, pay by shaking down travelers. But you also can kind of tell like they are maybe these guys that you are coming up on are probably not as effective as the folks that you have as like the people you're traveling with. Do make me a perception check though real quick. Okay. On a nat 20, you notice now, lying in additional ambush, are two more individuals on horseback. One drawing a bow with practiced ease, and the other drawing a sword and beginning to prepare to rush in on the rest of you, which it is now their turn and they will do. So, Roz, you now also see this coming around from behind this tree, but still staying in some cover from your companions, is this archer who's going to take 2 shots at you with a longbow. You are taking the dodge action, I believe, so they will be at disadvantage. I'm guessing 11 doesn't hit you.
Does not.
Nor does 10.
It sure does.
So, Roz, who was ready for some bullshit to happen, even though you hadn't noticed this person there, is able to sort of dodge and duck out of the way as you hear the hooves that come around the trees sort of telegraph the arrows coming from that direction. What does it look like as Roz dodges?
I think it's sort of like semi-matrixy. Roz sees something out of the corner of her eye, and the first arrow comes, and I think she sort of slaps it away with her shield, but that causes her whole body to spin, and she kind of leans back as the second one whizzes past her.
Gotcha. And then Farren, this other individual on horseback, rushes up to you and gets right into melee. And let's see. Is going to make an attack. Let's see. 1 second. Yeah, is going to make an attack with his spear. Shield in one hand, spear in the other. Is going to make an attack. He is a mounted combatant, so we'll have advantage. Does a 19 hit?
A 19 does hit.
Okay. And so that's going to be 10 points of piercing damage as he rushes out of the brush and spears Farren. And that brings us to Enna. Would you please describe your character?
Yeah, so Enna is a wood elf. She's a light cleric. She is pretty small, around the 5'2", 5'4", just like below average range. She carries a little white mouse with her. Yeah, she doesn't really trust people. She's really like haunted from the past and what she's been going through. She had to run away from home because her parents got yeeted off the earth. So that was quite unfortunate for her. So now she's been on the run.
Yeah. And so Enna, as Farren takes off and then gets charged out of the woods, as these 2 horse people sort of charge out of the trees, our perspective shifts and we see Enna walking through the woods, feeling uneasy, feeling like she's being watched, maybe. And we see Enna return to her village and begin walking through. And after a while of like walking in the village, we see Enna notice someone new who you have not seen around before. You see... Stand by 1 second. While I pull this thing up that I need to pull up. Yeah. You see an elven man with dark hair that is well dressed, speaking with someone else in the village. One of the someone that you know probably like keeps an eye on. Is my internet yeeting? Stand by, everyone. So if you are, I think our stream may be slightly yeeting itself. I'm going to start recording at this point in the hopes that it gets itself sorted out. I don't know what's going on with our internet, but we are going to continue playing in hope that the stream just manages to get its life together. And then if I need to, I'll just edit the videos together after the fact. So anyway, You see that this man is speaking to probably one of the like guards of the village, and is sort of like grinning and smiling as they speak with each other. And you just get an uneasy feeling. He makes eye contact with you for a moment before you return home. And we sort of see as you make eye contact and turn to go home. Once our perspective shifts and you see the eyes of him speaking with the guard sort of shift to you are in the village shop, and he's speaking with like the shopkeeper there, and they're sort of like laughing and being jovial, and you see his smile, which always unnerves you. It's like it doesn't quite reach the eyes, you know. He is buying mushrooms. It seems like a little bag of just food, kind of from the shopkeeper, and we sort of our perspective shifts again as Enna is out in the woods close to dusk, gathering her own sort of mushrooms and fungus and herbs, these sort of rare elven items that grow near the village. And on the way back, we see we see Enna hear a noise that kind of sets you ill at ease. And as you're making your way back to the village, he sort of steps out of the trees in front of you. What does Enna say or do?
And I was just gonna look at him for a second, just kind of paralyzed. Just you can tell she's afraid, but she's trying to hide it. So she just kind of musters up a hello.
And he says, "These woods are dangerous, you know. I was worried about you."
Anna says, "I'm quite all right, thank you." And then she kind of scoots around him,
Yeah.
go back home to kind of avoid him.
Yeah, and you have to scoot around him because he's kind of like directly in the way of the path back towards the village, and so you sort of make your way past him and back into the village towards your house, and you approach the house and sort of, I think, take a deep breath and reach for the doorknob. We see the front door of your house. We see like windows with the light coming through in this as the sun is sort of setting now and becoming evening. But as you reach for the doorknob, the perspective shifts once again, and we see kind of in the corner of the frame where the light was coming through the window, as our perspective shifts and time changes, there's no longer light coming through the window, and we sort of see Enna's hand that was reaching kind of confidently for the door is trembling and shaking, unsure of what you will find. And Enna, you open the door and move in, and immediately the smell of blood hits your nostrils. The unimaginable smell of a person somehow changed from someone you love into lifeless meat. This copper tang of blood in the air, the stench of all the unpleasant indignities of bodies and death, blood on the walls. Your mother and father transformed into bits of flesh. The hands that held you severed. Eyes that warmed and crinkled when you came home are wide and unseeing. The mouth that named you frozen in an O of surprise, and will never say your name again. And what does Enna do?
She starts, you can see tears in her eyes, and she's breathing very heavily because she's very shocked. And then she just turns around and she just runs away. She can't believe what she just saw, and she's like, I gotta get out of here, because she believes that she's next.
And Enna, as you turn and run, our perspective once again shifts to you beginning to move and do what you are about to do. What does Enna do
Okay.
in the present moment?
Let's see. I'm gonna move and I keep zooming in.
Okay, so on the left side of your screen, you have like a series of little icons.
Yeah.
The top one is the pointer. So if you have that selected, you can click and move Enna's token around.
Oh, okay, cool.
And while you have her like clicked and picked up, if you're holding left click,
Yeah.
you can hit the right click button to set little waypoints and measure where she's going.
Okay.
Do I have this set to give you control? Hang on. Have I done something wrong? Because it's like you're... yeah, you can control. Okay. Yep, okay.
Oh, okay, I didn't want to do that.
Okay, you
Okay.
got it.
Okay, yeah, I see. I'm gonna move her. I'm gonna move her behind these little rocks.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I got hit. I think she's gonna hide right now because she's kind of like, what the heck is happening?
Okay. Yeah, sure. Make a stealth check. You can use your action to do that.
A what check?
Stealth check. And on your sheet on the left side should be like a big long rectangle full of your skills. You'll see like athletics, acrobatics, etc. And stealth, it's alphabetical, so stealth will be like in the bottom third of it.
Yeah.
And if you just click where it says stealth on the sheet, it should roll it for you.
Okay, hold on. I'm seeing everything, but I can hear it. Okay, I found it. Did I do it?
Unfortunately not. So as Enna, as you rush in, well, you are wearing heavier armor, I think.
Okay.
And so it is making a little bit of noise. People may have a sense of where you are. Let me just double check that you have a 17 armor class. Okay, yeah. And you're in scale mail. Yep, yeah. So you are, unfortunately, generally speaking, at disadvantage when you do stealth. Okay. And then that brings us to Silas. If you'd please describe your character.
Silas is the odd one of the group, being the only human. He stands about 5'11", 6 foot on Tinder. I'm sorry.
Brutal.
But he's a thin man. He's wearing nice clothes that have been very rugged throughout the years. Looks like he hasn't changed in a while. He's clean and has very long, slick back hair that's tied in a tight ponytail to keep out of his way. You see a curved sword, not quite as curved as Roz's, but a slight curved saber at his side. And flying next to him is Charlie, a red and reddish brown and black barn owl.
Gotcha. Yeah. And 1 second, I gotta find you. There you are. Yeah. So Silas, as Silas sort of like draws his sword and prepares for battle, we sort of zero in on the sword. We are in a smithy shop. And a man is standing in front of a forge, kind of like pounding that particular sword into shape. Not all that well. He seems to be a little intoxicated. We can tell that this shop is not very well appointed or kept for a blacksmith shop. How old is Silas as he enters the
Silas
room?
is 9 years old, and he's approaches his father.
Yeah, and the father is sort of pounding the shape into this piece of metal and glances at Silas and doesn't really say anything.
While he does that, Silas tries to move the bellows to make the fire blossom, and he's having trouble. Anyone looking in could see that Silas is a sickly child, not very strong.
And the man says, "Boy, you'll never grow up big and strong. You can't even pull the bellows."
Silas looks down, looks at some empty bottles of alcohol, tries a few more times and is unsuccessful.
Pathetic. You're weak, boy. And
Silas kind of...
go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Silas kind of walks around. He's unsure what to do, but thinks about his mother, who he misses.
And as he moves away from the bellows, the man sort of huffs and sort of moves around and does it himself really quickly and sort of stumbles back to where he was, having put the sword in the heat for a moment to keep it soft and enough to hammer. And they both hear in between the clangs of the hammer on the metal, the sort of like bell ding 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 in the front of the shop, indicating someone has walked in the door. And the man says, "Go see who it is. Get out of my sight."
Silas walks behind the counter and greets the man. "Hello?"
Yeah, and we see a rather older elven man step into the shop. He is wearing sort of long and flowing robes, and comes up to the to the counter, and says, "Yes, excuse me, young master. I was looking for someone to I have a rather delicate instrument here that's unfortunately seen some damage in my travels. I was wondering if I might find someone who could put it to rights. A little bit of metalwork here."
And Silas looks. He says, "May I see?"
"Oh, certainly." And he sort of hands, and it's this sort of odd spindly contraption with a number of kind of thin and delicate metal supports, and its purpose is entirely unclear. But you can see there is one area where one of the rods on the thing has been just sort of bent into a curve, just bent out of shape a little bit.
And Silas kind of looks it over. He knows a little bit about metal work and evaluates his father's aptitude and says, "We could probably fix it for you. It'll take some time. Do you mind coming back in a week or so? We can talk about price then."
"Oh, certainly, that's not a problem." He sort of cocks his head and looks at you, looks around, seeing the metalwork that's around, and at this point it's like there probably are a few weapons, a few like farming tools, none of them are like elegantly made or beautifully crafted, but serviceable, I guess. And he sort of looks at you, this scrawny, sickly child, and sort of says, I'm sorry, we?"
My father, he's in the back. He does most of the
right.
work. I deal with
Certainly.
customers.
Well, yes, that should be all right. And he leaves, and our perspective sort of shifts in this room as he comes back in again, and sees I think Silas behind the behind the counter, but this time your father is in the room with you. I think Silas is... Go ahead.
One thing he may notice is a sizable black eye on Silas's face.
Yeah, and I think he does. He comes in and sort of sees that and looks at the man and looks back at Silas, and his face sort of sets a little bit, and I don't know that we exactly hear what transpires. He walks up, words are exchanged. He inspects his instrument, seems to find it serviceable enough, hands over some gold, kind of cocks his head, looks at Silas, looks back at the man. Some more words are exchanged. For this, there's like paper that comes out and signatures that happen. And then Silas, I think we see the quill and the parchment. We see this sort of long, spindly script as this somewhat older elven hand signs on this paper, and then we see both the elven man and Silas walk out of the shop as we pan back down to the signature, which the elven script sort of shifts and changes and is the we see, instead of a sort of sheet of paper with some sort of contract written on it, we see a book, and in what would be a title page, kind of early, like one of the first things in the book is this name that we recognize to be that same script, and we see a hand sort of turning the page. How old is Silas at this point as he's turning this page?
This is a few months, maybe 6 months to a year after he is taken in. And as he's flipping through the book, he's enthralled by what's on the pages, not completely understanding what's going on, but trying his best to get in a sense of how this works.
Yeah. And I think we see as he flips into these early pages, these like arcane diagrams. There still is elvish script written, but it's also accompanied by these like formulas and like magic circle things that are all crazy. And I think we see Silas sort of like screwing up his face and like mouthing things to himself, and sort of like waving his hand. And he tries this a couple of times, and we get a sense of the room that he's in, which appears to be this like circular room, and there is like a bed in one corner with like a couple of belongings, but a lot of the room has like just miscellaneous, like what would be kind of clearly like wizard shit everywhere, right? Just like little spindly doodads and like scrolls on a shelf and books and things like that. And Silas, like, what does it look like the first time he successfully cast this cantrip?
You see him kind of focusing in his mind what he thinks a person who can do spells does. So he's waving his hands and he's hurling things that are invisible, and he's concentrating as though it's this physical thing. And then finally you see him almost give up this idea that he's going to it's like a 10-year-old doing karate after he watched Goku, it's like but he finally gives that up and just kind of thinks and then just kind of points, and you see as he points towards a spot in the room he didn't really plan on picking because he didn't expect for it to work. A fire comes out of his hand.
Yeah, and I think a fire sort of comes out of his hand and hits a couple of scrolls on a nearby desk, and catches fire.
And you see him just dash over and just like smacking and just making a huge commotion, knocking things over, just trying desperately to put out, because he doesn't know exactly what all of this is.
Yeah. And we see along about that time, of course, the elven man comes back up the stairs and sort of, I think we see him see what's going on, and I think he snaps his fingers and the fire goes out. And we sort of see the smoke kind of begin to rise from it. And he looks at Silas, sort of cocks an eyebrow and says, what has happened here?
He kind of like looks down. You can tell that like this is a trained, almost like getting in trouble as a kid, but very much just shuts down and just kind of looks at I found this book and I didn't understand a lot of it, but I was trying to make sense of it, and I think I cast a spell.
Yeah, and I think as he says, like, cast a spell, we almost see him, like, flinch as if he's expecting to get hit.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen. And we see as the elven man sort of looks at the smoke and looks at him and says, well, if I'm going to be teaching you more of this, you should know 3 things cannot be hidden long. Love, smoke, he sort of gestures at the smoke, and the truth. Why don't
Silas,
I show you what some of this is actually about?
Silas kind of looks at the floor and looks at the book, looks at a lion, and like his demeanor changes. He's like a kid on Christmas now, and kind of scoops up the book and walks over to him and starts just furiously asking questions.
Yeah, and I think as they begin to converse about what's in the book, we see the smoke rising as it curls up towards the top of this room in the tower. And it is night now. And the room is on fire again. Except this time, the smoke that's rising doesn't rise up towards the top of the tower, but the open night sky, as the top of the tower has been sundered off, and the broken and jagged stones that we see have scorch marks on them. And I think Silas stands in the room among the wreckage of what had become his most of his childhood and adolescence. How old is Silas now?
Silas is pushing 17. He's still spindly, but much taller. You can see the scruffs of, facial hair, and the length of his hair is starting to grow. Tears visible.
Yeah. And I think Silas sort of looks out what used to be the window and is now kind of just a notch in the wall, and sees figures in robes sort of disappearing into the trees, and turns back and looks at the room where a lion will never walk the stairs of the tower again, nor will Silas. And Silas, I think, reaches down into the burning pile of rubble near where a lion lies and grabs the spell book from this burning building and flees into the woods with the smell of smoke heavy in the air.
I agree. One addition, he reaches behind a lion's body and pulls out of a belt strap his wand.
Yeah.
And takes it as well.
Right, that as well. And I think having started with the sword, we end with that wand as Lion draws it in the other hand.
So you see, the sword flashes out a wand from behind his back, and you see a lion draw it along the length of the blade. And while he does, he begins to hum loudly, and it starts to radiate, and sword begins to slightly kind of move in the light, and he'll begin the blade song as a bonus action. He then takes the wand and puts it on himself and casts haste. He takes his hand, kind of knocks on the shoulder of Soren in front of him, and he says, "You have my back?
Always."
Let's go." And as a bullet takes off in an 80-foot straight line, corners and approaches this guy and takes that in a spinning arc and comes down with his rapier. Let's hope this hits, or all that was really for lame. A 14.
14 does hit.
Okay.
Yep. Because he doesn't have cover because you're not ranged, you're in melee.
That's
7
right. So I do 7 points of damage as I.
Okay, and that guy is starting to look pretty rough.
Action, bonus action, movement. That is my turn.
Okay. And that brings us to Soren. And what does the owl do? I don't think it can move as fast as you.
Charlie moves 60 feet. I do kind of want him to go up.
Okay, sorry.
I'll move him, but yeah.
Okay.
I just want him to go up, but he'll move about right there.
Okay, cool. And that brings us to Soren. If you would please describe your character. So flashing back as Silas zips off and begins to enter combat with this thug and slashes into him. I think it's the camera follows Silas as he zips off, but then it almost backs itself up because it was it's almost so fast that it lagged and then it caught up and then it went back. What do we see? What does Soren look like?
Yeah, so standing taller than any of the other party members at a strong 6'6", healthily built, very kind of muscular and padded underneath all the feathers, is a large owl man. Soren is an owlin. His feathers are graying at the roots and kind of beginning to spread up as age is very visibly taking a toll on him. And he's wearing this kind of blend of armor and robes, carrying a hammer in one hand with a holy tome latched to his belt, with these kind of huge yellow eyes. His neck is bent at 130 degrees as he's scanning the area real quick to make sure that he spots every threat.
Yeah, and as he sort of is scanning the area, I think we see being disturbed by this battle is a small red fox that darts out away from the roots of one of the trees. And as it does, our perspective shifts to see another fox darting through other trees. And it sort of stops and perks up and looks around. And as it sort of stops and perks its ears, which kind of move a little bit to try to pick up sound, we pan up into the trees above it to see 2 owlin. We see one that appears to just be, a chick practically. How old is Soren at this point?
I think Soren is maybe 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Very in human years, he'd be probably around 10, maybe young, preteen age.
And we see another owlin, much older than Soren is. That is sort of hooting and sort of clucking and speaking to Soren and kind of explaining things, and says, my son, when we hunt, you see the fox there?
Yes.
And she's speaking quietly so as not to disturb kind of the wildlife around, and says, we know if we see the fox here that there are other animals that we probably also would hunt. Squirrels and other small mammals. And rodents, even some insects and berries and seeds. And is sort of just like explaining the importance of, being aware of his surroundings and not just like looking for food, but understanding the whole story of what nature is telling him, right? The fox isn't really food to them. It's not particularly good meat and there's not a lot of it, but knowing that other predators in the area have food to sustain themselves here would tell him that there's prey to be had, right? And as they sort of look at the fox and follow where the fox's eyes are looking, they see on a nearby tree like a squirrel sort of like dart up halfway up the tree and stop. And as Soren, I think maybe we see Soren like tense and get ready to like swoop, and all of a sudden there's a bit of a shift from Soren's mother and a cough, and as we pan away, we see blood on the feathers, and the squirrel is startled and races away, and from the red of the blood on the feathers, we sort of shift our perspective. And we see Soren is now a little bit older and seated in a stone room instead of out in a tree at a wooden table. And on the floor is this plush red carpet. And the woman in front of Soren is dressed in these like dark robes with this sort of head covering that covers all of her hair. And she is at this point probably in her probably 30s or so. So an adult, but not like older. And how old is Soren at this point?
I think at this point, Soren's maybe 10. 10 or 11.
Yeah. So Soren is sort of in adolescence as far as Owlin are concerned. And we see the woman says, I am the most Reverend Aoife, Bishop of Dolrath. And they tell me your name is Soren.
Soren Bertalin, yes.
I see. You should know, we do not have many of your lineage here in our order, but we are open to all. We will welcome any who serve the natural order of nature.
You can help people.
Yes.
The sick, yes.
Yes. That is something that some of those with our faith are granted the ability to do.
I will learn this with you.
And
You will have me.
Yeah, and they begin to sort of like go through some kind of paperwork, and there's a book in front of you with this like lines and lines of names as Soren is signing, and in the book, like, well, I guess it would be pulled out as they've turned through it, but like stemming from the back of the book is this long, thin, golden bookmark that they clearly used to like sign the keep their place in the page, and it sort of switches to that gold bookmark is perspective shifting, and we see is this red bookmark in this book that Soren is reading, sort of in this library, sitting at the table, kind of looking frustrated. How old is Soren at this point?
I think at this point he's maybe 15 in Owlin, so human years, maybe like late teens, maybe about to hit 20.
Yeah. And we see him frustrated and reading this book as the individual that we saw before comes up, now probably into her like late 30s. And she says, sort of sees him frustrated reading this book and says, Soren, What seems to
Don't
be the
get
trouble?
it. I've said all the prayers. I've recited the verses. It doesn't. Nothing is happening.
It's not some formula you can plug in numbers and get the answer you want. It's not simple, something you can learn from a book. Say the right words, do the right dance. We are not wizards. This is the power of divinity, life itself. It requires something else entirely.
What?
Faith, Soren.
Soren
And
kind of nods dejectedly.
And yeah, that red bookmark hanging out of now the back of the book that Soren has opened, and it's sort of, as Soren nods dejectively, like the book in front of him shifts a little bit, and the bookmark begins to kind of wave slightly, and our perspective shifts to a red bandana, sort of on. It's like a head covering and then tied in the back, and there's this bandana sort of off of the side of it, stirring a little bit in the wind, but as we pan out and see the individual that it is attached to is not moving. And I think we see Soren knelt down beside them, arms covered in feathers, covered in blood, as this individual he was not able to save. And we hear in the distance, I think, because you're not right quite in the thick of it, we hear some sort of fighting, battle going on, and nearby we see a young half-orc girl rushes up to the still form of, it's kind of a lump is all we can really see at this point, but it's obviously the size of a human, and she is sort of screaming and crying, and the young half-orc girl says just starts like screaming like, help, grandma's not moving, she's bleeding, I can't stop it, help.
I think Soren runs over. I'm a priest. I can help.
Please help her.
I think he kneels next to this woman, and he reaches his hands out. He's, please, Solorna, Rune, if you were there, please let me save at least one.
Yeah, and I think in this moment, for the first time, when Soren knocks on the door, somebody answers. And
I think this vibrant kind of moonlight almost radiates from Soren's hands, as opposed to the practical like sunlight, radiant divine.
Yeah, and I think kind of what it looks like too, in a way, is like the woman who we now see is like an older human woman, with gray hair. It's not so much that Soren like irradiates light onto her. She sort of fell in the darkness of this like wagon that had been overturned. And again, it's not so much that he irradiates the light, but it's like the shadows sort of like wrap themselves around his hands, and it's like the absence of the shadows is what's causing the light more so than the light like taking the shadows. And it sort of leaves this like less glaring, less bright, again, that kind of moonlight instead of, it's like reflection in a way rather than direct light. And the wounds begin to close and the woman stirs. And the young girl sort of throws herself, onto the woman, crying, but happy that she's saved. And
I think Soren is kind of like looking at his hands in amazement for a moment, and he looks up and he's, "Thank you."
Yeah. And I think we see probably we move from seeing Soren like looking up and being grateful for miracles, that we then see Soren kneeling once again in a darkened wood. And I think the atmosphere shifts. This place is wild, but it's a curious wilderness. It's a wild place where I think we feel that like people are not welcome. But it's not the sort of wondrous lack of welcome of like a fey realm where there's like magic steeped in every mote of starlight, and pixie dust and the sort of subtle entrapments and enchantments. And it's not like a dark and twisted, like evil sort of a place. It's just wild in a way that refuses to be tamed. It refuses to be known or dominated. And I think Soren kneels here. What does he do?
I think Soren kneels, and there's just kind of a stack of stones next to a pile of dirt here that's kind of been resettled after time. And he looks significantly older at this point. I think this is Soren in like his mid-30s.
Yeah.
He's a full established priest of his church at this point. And he just brings his hand down and he lays his hand on the kind of the pile of moved dirt here. And I don't think he says anything. I think he just stands up and he looks and he sees kind of the overgrowth. And I think in that overgrowth, there are maybe memories that he feels for a moment. And then he shakes his head and he walks away.
Yeah, and I think as he walks away, we sort of see him through the branches of these trees, sort of in the same way that we now see him through kind of and around the branches of the tree that the fox initially ran out from under the roots of. And that brings us back to Soren in his current moment. What does Soren do?
Yeah, Soren is going to run 30 feet out. So he's going to go to, let me make sure I get this right. Yeah, right about here. And he's going to do two things. Firstly, he's going to cast Spiritual Weapon.
Okay. And quick question. What does Soren's spiritual weapon look like? I don't know if we've talked about
So I
this.
think he kind of extends his arms and that same kind of like light bending occurs where the shadows kind of form into a thorny, almost like a hammer that is wrapped in this like thorny vines.
Okay.
That's just manifested out of like darkness and starlight.
Yeah. Okay. And where does he summon it?
He summons it right here between the guy that Silas is on and these two right here.
And he's going to take an attack on the guy that everyone has been walloping on.
Okay.
With his spiritual weapon at level
Okay.
2. That is a 20.
20 will hit. Yep.
Does 11 force damage.
All right. Yeah, and so this guy, after Silas sort of asks, do you have my back? And Soren says, always. We probably almost to some extent forget that exchange and all the other moments that we've seen. And however, as the spiritual hammer, Silas rushes up to threaten this guy, and then Silas, you just see his eyes kind of go slack, and hear a sickening crunch as his skull is sort of caved in, and as he falls down in front of you, this sort of spectral vined twilight hammer sort of floats in the air in front of you, which I don't think you necessarily have seen Soren's spiritual weapon before, so this is a bit surprising to you.
I've definitely seen Soren's magic happen,
Right.
But maybe not the spiritual weapon.
Yeah.
And I look at I scream over to him, "New tricks, old man!"
Full of them.
Yeah.
And then I cast Sacred Flame at the horseman next to Farren.
Okay.
Sacred Flame being a cantrip, so that is.
I rolled the wrong thing.
Possible. So they need to make a DC 14 dex save. I'm specifically not targeting the horse here.
Yeah.
Only the rider.
Okay. Yeah, I rolled the wrong thing. Let me just substitute these mods. He has a +5, so that's +3 from that, right? Yeah. So he unfortunately got a 15. So as this, what does Soren's Sacred Flame look like?
I think Sacred Flame is almost like a beam of moonlight kind of radiates from his hand.
Yeah. And so this beam of moonlight sort of lashes out towards this individual on the horse swinging down at Farren. However, it's a very close call, but he does dodge just barely out of the way. And that, I think that's movement, action, bonus action. That's it.
Yeah, that's Soren's turn. I don't think it. Yeah, that's Soren's turn.
Okay. All right. So now, having watched that one gentleman die, the rest of these folks are going to take their turn. So Silas, let's see. I think.
Let's get cooking.
Yeah, I think that one is going to close with you, and he's going to sort of step back over past the dead body of his friend. He's going to make 2 mace attacks. I know your AC is jacked through the roof right now. Highest is a 17.
Both miss.
Okay. So Silas is just like too quick, just inhumanly fast as and the blade song on top of that. And so he's like, what does it look like? I know he hums, but like there also I think is a bit of a almost like dance-like component to it, right?
Yeah, so it's very much like kung fu-esque in a way where he's slipping and dodging, helped a lot by the haste, which is helping him just almost Jedi predict where things are coming from. And the sword at all times is almost like that pencil trick you do, but like waving to the point where it's hard to see. So and he's batting the mace, you said?
Yes, the mace. Yeah, and so the mace hits, like, they come in, and, like, if it weren't for this strange way, like, they're solid, skillful hits. He rolled well, but it's just not quite enough to overcome the blade song and the haste. I think just for my general benefit, the rules probably say something different. I think it makes the most sense if we just have Charlie move and act on your turn.
That's fine with me.
Rather than have his own initiative, if that's cool. But okay, so that is one. Next, I'm gonna decide. I don't know if he's gonna go after Roz or Farren at this point. I don't know who this other 3 would see as a bigger threat. Okay, I'm just gonna roll all of these. Okay, so one of them sort of moves up and is gonna take a shot at Roz, hoping to keep her from helping Silas. Roz, does a 17 hit?
That hits.
He has disadvantage. Oh, the other was a 19, so it
does.
is gonna hit.
Ooh.
Because you still had your dodge. That is 7 points of piercing damage to Roz. The other two are going to fire at Farren. Now I do have a question, Farren, Jacob, and Kinsey. Does Farren need to know how do I put this? Is deflect missile something that Farren does in as a result of a successful attack, or just when they're the target? Do I need to telegraph in advance whether or not an attack hits for Farren to decide?
Deflect missile is when you are hit by a ranged weapon attack.
Okay, so the first attack misses. And the second attack misses. So Farren, as you begin to enter, what does Farren's sort of martial arts basically look like as you sort of drop into your fighting stance, fighting a man on a horse, which is probably a pretty weird sort of situation?
I feel like my style is because I'm Air Genasi, just very light on my feet, very quick, not a heavy-handed, more like multiple very quick hits.
Yeah. And so as Farren is beginning to sort of step into battle with this man on the horse, these two crossbow bolts, and I think maybe even there's a wind element to how you deflect the arrows a little bit, blowing them off course and dodging the ones you can't. Okay, that is the thugs. They are none of the other ones are going to move. They've attacked. Roz, you're up.
Roz is going to call out to Farren, Master of the Four Elements, hold your breath, and is going to cast Stinking Cloud. And Stinking Cloud has a radius of 20 feet, so I'm pretty sure I can get basically all of these folks.
Okay, so there's your Stinking Cloud.
If you could center it somewhere around,
you can control it.
I can. Yeah, I want to do that.
Okay, great. Okay, so walk me through it. What is when do I make the saves? Is it when they start their turn or now?
Yes, you create a 20-foot radius sphere of nauseating gas centered on a point within range. Cloud spreads around corners. Its area is heavily obscured. The cloud lingers in the air for the duration. Each creature that is completely within the cloud at the start of its turn must make a Constitution saving throw against poison. On a failed save, the creature spends its action retching and reeling that turn. Creatures that don't need to breathe, which Air Genasi do not need to breathe, automatically succeed their saving throw.
That is very tight work. Okay,
Nice.
So you say hold your breath, but what does the casting of this spell look like?
Yes, so that's what's interesting. Roz removes a jar of deep amber liquid, surreptitiously looking at Silas. Don't tell the others. And chucks the jar of cat piss into the fracas, immediately causing an intense explosion of nauseous yellow gas.
Yeah. And I think even part of it is imbuing it with the mad, because it is a spell too, right? So it's
Yes.
there is it's that's the material component, right? But there is a bit of zhuzh to it.
Before Roz chucks it, and after asking Silas not to tell anyone, Roz whispers to the jar, "You are the urine of heroes."
And launches it, and it sparkles. Honestly, as the light hits it, it's like stars, and it's almost like sunset in a city of smog. It's as the stars come out and twinkle through the ammonia-smelling foul gas.
I think Soren turns and makes direct eye contact with Charlie the barn owl.
Oh man. Okay.
and when
Any movement or anything?
when Roz tells Silas, "Don't tell the others," I will grant Silas bardic inspiration because he's just not stacked enough.
Of course. Oh wait, no. Oh yeah, you're good because you didn't grant inspiration to. You just told Farren not to move. You didn't actually grant them inspiration. Okay, cool.
Not to breathe.
Right. You told not to breathe.
And then Roz will. Let's see. Roz will actually run back and engage with the horse archer.
Okay. All right. Cool. That now brings us to Perdita. So,
Wow.
Perdita, and this is all of you. It's like the first time that you are seeing each other in combat, right? So, to make it clear to folks at home, I don't mean to run all over you here, Trish, but I realized I should explain this. Our party has met each other about 2 days ago. A couple of them have prior relationships with each other from various reasons. But this is the first time I think any of them probably are seeing the others in combat outside of maybe some very limited like sparring or something like that. And so Perdita, some pretty wild shit has just happened, right? This other cat raced in, got ambushed, chucked a jar of piss. There's a blue person with windy hair, like spin kicking a horse. There is that one guy with the wand and the long hair, like just fucking Sonic the Hedgehog, just like the world had to be saved, just like fucking zipped in there and is humming like a weird fucking song while he's doing it. And then the owl man, who is bigger than all the rest of you, did not run into like melee combat, just like sort of started moving over there much slower, but like started throwing moonbeams and summoning like, you know, Luna's hammer and shit. What would Perdita like to do?
Well, I was seeing this and realizing that I must get close and do something, but I do not want to because it's a mess. So Anna and Soren would have heard me say, "Merde," and I would begin to run using my feline ability, and I planned to double my movement, and I'd actually planned to run up to the horse and then use my claws and climb the little mother and use my knife or dagger or sword and go after the rider. However, I get to right here and I say, "The pissoir? We have the pissoir?" And she looks at the funny other little cat who she really doesn't know, sighs, stops where she is because she doesn't want to get in the middle of that. And she's forced to just use her bow again because she doesn't know what else to do. She can't get close. She can't use sneak attack.
She can't
use her claws. And she's frustrated and she's very hungry.
She can't use sneak attack.
She shoots very well.
Yeah. Well, we'll use that same roll because the mods will be the same, but you hit your short sword. But that's a 20 to hit. But go ahead. No, well, short swords and bows have the same damage anyway.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. Just roll the damage off of that because they're the same damage die.
I'm so sorry.
And you will actually get sneak attack because Farren is within 5 feet of your enemy and is not incapacitated. So.
All right.
So that is 6
so
damage.
So I'm feeling a little better about things, but I'm still hungry.
Yeah.
Oh, look
Nice.
what I did.
Oh,
You
boy.
should not mess with me when I'm hungry.
Okay. Yeah, and so your bow lands your short bow lands a solid hit on this powerful warrior on the horse, but they do seem like they're able to shrug it off pretty well and are they take damage to be sure, but still kind of well in the fight. However, that brings us to Farren, who does not need to make a save because they do not need to breathe.
Well, I do want to point one thing
sorry, go ahead.
out. If I may, I'm so sorry, but just that I did not have to use my feline ability.
Ah, okay. And you do still have a bonus action. Do you want to attempt to hide or anything after your shot, or?
I would love to try and hide
Okay.
behind the log, but you
Yeah.
know there is a lot of me.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and make a stealth check. 28. Yeah, and I think you're in luck because I think the log, as it's like in this, like I think it's sort of a reddish brown with shadows on it. Like you camouflage pretty well into the color of this log. And that brings us to Farren.
All right, so I am right next to how's the is it an archer on the horse?
So the archer on the horse is to the north where Roz is. You are fighting the person who basically looks like the boss of all these thugs. Clearly the most powerful warrior on that horse, and also is wearing like nice studded leather armor and a shield. These guys who seem
until they smell piss.
Yeah, these guys who seem like they were deserters from the royal, or not from the, I guess royal, from the garrison. This guy was probably like the commander that you're fighting now.
I'm thinking about if there is a way to maybe like pull them off the horse.
Yeah, there could be. I would say
it'd be hard to attack someone, especially since I'm more of like hand to hand, like attack someone that is atop a horse.
Yeah, for sure. So what you would have to do is use one of your attacks to attempt to grapple them. And then if you successfully grappled them, you could make an athletics check to try to pull them off the horse. So that would basically amount to 2 athletics check from you versus their athletics. And then
Farren does have Fist of Unbroken Air as a 4 elements monk, which means if they fail a strength save on like a special thing, they can push whoever they're attacking up to 20 feet away and knock them prone.
Yeah, so you could also just Hadoken them off the horse if you like.
Boom!
With like a concentrated blast of air.
Of piss air. We need
That's
Yeah.
pretty sick though.
So either way, if you want to try to just grab them and drag them down, that will require 2 athletics checks better than their 2 athletics checks. Or if you want to use the air, it just requires them failing a strength save. I mean, he looks pretty strong, so either way, it's going to be tough, but not impossible.
I think I'm gonna try to push them off with air. Just
excellent.
Knock them off of the horse.
Okay.
And get them on the ground.
And all right. And does that take your action to do, or is that something you do along with other stuff?
That's the action.
That's the action. Okay. And he makes a strength save. What is your spell save DC?
I think it goes off of wisdom plus. Actually,
8 plus proficiency plus wisdom.
Yeah. So it's going to be 14.
14. Okay. So he, I'm just going to tell y'all, has a +7 to strength. So he makes the save on a 7 or higher. And I am actually going to ask it to query my whispers.
Roll that 1. Roll the 1.
Come on.
And we're going to public roll this one.
Here we go.
Oh, man. Rough.
Now,
and so... Go ahead.
Does it hurt him at all that the air is full of this poisonous gas?
Wait a second. He didn't make his con save. No, it's not his turn yet.
It's the start of his turn.
Yeah, okay. So I guess it hasn't had a chance to take effect. Okay, he does take half as much damage, and you won't push it, but he'll still take damage. So if you want to roll 3d10, and you could spend additional key to make it more damage than that. If you want
more key to, all right, now, so just half of 20. So,
whew, okay, so 10. That's not bad. Yeah, so walk me through, what does it look like as Farren unleashes this blast of air?
I would like to go for it, like planting my feet firmly into the ground, just around my head, and then at the
Yes,
guy,
excellent.
just straight towards the chest.
Yeah, so as you like whip your arms around the back, we see like the ball of air kind of beginning to coalesce. And by the time it comes to the front, it just unleashes in a column. Choose a creature within 30 feet of you. Okay. Yeah, so he manages to hold on to the reins of the horse as this air just like blasts into him. But he still does take damage and is starting to look a little beat up. You do still have movement if there's anywhere you wish to go.
Yeah, hold on. I think Farren also has key fueled attack, which means if they spent a key point as part of their action, they can take an attack.
Do like
with an
flurry of
unarmed
blows
strike.
with. Okay.
Yeah, it's technically not flurry of blows, but they don't get like the full double on. They just get one extra attack if you want to do that.
Cool.
Yeah, well.
Okay. Let her rip.
Yeah, and then that's just going to be a regular.
I do need to check his feet.
That's all.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, so an 8 is not gonna hit, unfortunately. So as you blast the air, I think maybe you attempt to like swing up and kick, but the enemy just catches it with the shield. Any movement?
No, I think I'm gonna stay put, and when it gets back around to me, try it again.
Okay. All right. So it is now the archer's turn. The archer is unfortunately in melee.
Unfortunate for them.
I think the archer is. I mean, they're on a horse, so they are going to back up. You're going to get your attack of opportunity, but their life is going to be better if they're not in melee with you. So they are going to back up to maybe like about 20 feet away from you. So Roz, do you take your attack of opportunity?
9.
Okay, 9 is not going to hit. So they duck quickly and kind of fake you out. They like fake like they're going in for an attack, but then the horse like jumps backwards and they just get out of range of your riposte. And then they are going to use a bonus action to take Archer's Eye and make 2 longbow attacks at Roz. So there's number 1 coming at. Oh God, that's a crit. It's a crit and a natural 1, but the crit was the first one.
I'm going to use. Do I? I don't have shield. Never mind.
Okay.
Different character.
Whoo boy, and they get an extra D10. Oh God. Oh shit. I'm so sorry. Okay, here we go. So the longbow is a D8 plus a D10. So you take 18 plus 4 is 22. And then one. I'm just okay. So I'm just gonna roll it. Don't start doing math yet. Roll 1d8 plus 1d10 plus 22. They rolled garbage on the rest of their damage. So Roz, you take 28 points of damage from the first longbow attack. And then they are going to unload with the second one. They do not get the extra d10 on this one, though. Oof, that is a 19 to hit.
Hits.
10 points of damage.
Dead.
So Roz goes down. So Roz rushes to engage with this archer on a horse and just takes 2 arrows thump, thump, and goes down. That is it from the archer. Next up is this bandit captain next to Farren, who is going to roll a con save. Oh, Stinking Cloud is concentration, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Does it?
Stinking Cloud.
But it takes a certain amount of time to dissipate, right? Go ahead and read that for me.
Let's see. disperses a cloud after 4 rounds.
Okay, so I'm going to add
A
token.
strong wind will disperse it after 1 round.
Okay, I think it's just a quiet breeze. So we're going to go with stinking. We're going to go with. Okay. Round calculator? Okay.
If you want, I can just keep
No,
a
it's
D4
fine.
counter.
We're gonna put it after the archer, which is where you lost concentration. 4 more rounds after that. So. Okay. So the gladiator does still need to make that save. And it's a con save. What's your DC?
15.
15. He's got a +6. He makes this on a 9 or higher.
Come on. Roll like
Where did my
garbage,
public
bum.
roll? Hang on. You're supposed to ask me if I want to roll this in public or in private. There it is. Okay. Oh, damn. 21. So he's sort of like probably, I mean, he's lived in a barracks. He's probably used to some funky smells. Manages to not be poisoned and spend his turn barfing, and is going to attack with his spear once again. With advantage against Farren. For that is a oh no, he has advantage. That is a 21 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
And that is 13 points of piercing damage to Farren. And I think he is probably smart enough to try to move out of the cloud and flank around Farren like that. Okay. Anna, you are up.
Okay.
I do just want to remind you, Anna, you have Bardic Inspiration, and Braz's Bardic Inspiration, it's a D6, and it can be used for ability checks or saving throws, attack rolls, damage rolls, and as a reaction to add to your armor class if you take a hit.
Okay, cool. So Roz is dead, right?
Roz is
Unconscious.
unconscious and making death saves. So Roz is at 0 hit points, but will take 3 failed death saves to die, which can happen if Roz takes damage or just happens to roll low on their turn. So you have a few short rounds in which Roz can be saved without actually requiring like revivification.
Okay. So Anna sees this poor little cat be hurt, and it hurts her because she loves animals. So she's gonna run over 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. There you go. I'm gonna put her right there. And she is going to cast pending. One moment. Prayer. No. She has so many spells.
Yeah. So from that distance, you probably have Healing Word is I think the only thing that will hit at a distance. Cure Wounds requires you to be within touch range.
Yeah.
I don't know. You may have some other stuff, but
okay, yeah. I'm gonna do prayer of healing because that's 30 feet.
okay. And I do want
One
to
prayer of healing takes 10 minutes to cast.
Yeah, it has a long cast time. So Prayer of Healing is kind of something you would do in between battles.
Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't see that.
That's all good. That gets the best of us, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't see the time. Okay, can I do barnacles, berries?
Yeah. You have a couple options here. You could do Healing Word, which would give them less health, although you could cast it at a higher level to give it a little more oomph. You could Roz is not going to die in the next turn, probably. You could do something else and then move up and heal Roz in the next turn, should you wish to do so. So
Soren also has a bunch of healing spells prepared as another cleric.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I'm gonna do
you have some different options.
I'm gonna do that one. Because I didn't see it.
You can do healing word.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
do that one.
So you're going to click that. It should come up with a little box that asks you what level you want to cast it at. It does 1d4 plus your cast modifier per level. So if you cast it at second, that's 2d4. If you cast it at third, that's 3d4. Oh, it's not doing the thing quite right.
My level 5, is that how I'm reading it? Or no? Level 3.
Level of spell. So as a 5th level cleric, you have up to 3rd level spell slots to spend.
Yeah.
So
I'll do level 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to roll. There you go. Yeah. So that is 10 altogether. 10 points of healing to Roz. So Roz, you took 2 arrows, and then you are currently prone, but you have 10 HP. We're going to make you prone with this little man who's fallen and can't get up. Okay.
Roz awakens and shouts, 7 lives left.
Very funny. Okay. That was your healing word is a bonus action.
Okay.
You can still use an action, Anna. Your cantrips, you can't cast another like spell, like you couldn't cast Fireball or Scorching Ray or stuff like that, but you can use like cantrips. So if you have Toll the Dead or Sacred Flame or something like that, you still can use it.
Okay. One moment, please. Pending. Okay. Yeah, I'll do Sacred Flame.
Okay. And who would you like to target? I think and you literally can hit anyone except for these 2 guys down in the bottom. So
Okay.
you could get the guy on the horse, the archer that killed the cat, any of the 2 thugs, the one next to Silas or the one in the Stinking Cloud, but not the ones by the bottom of the Stinking Cloud.
Gotcha. I'm gonna do the archer. I'm gonna hit him.
Okay.
Okay.
So the archer has to make a dex save. Honestly, I'm going to give them disadvantage on a dex save for being mounted.
Okay.
I feel like that, like, I don't think you could very easily dodge whilst on a horse. They also don't have a mounted combatant feat. So I'm going to do that. What is your spell save DC?
15.
Oh, damn. They make the save. That's a 16.
Okay, so it doesn't hit.
Yeah, so I will ask, what does it look like as Anna casts Sacred Flame as a light cleric?
She folds her hands in prayer, and then she kind of lets go fire. But
Yeah.
not-
So, and I think maybe like she folds her hands and then I think like steeples them out a little bit, and like this little ball of like radiant light sort of like sparks in there and then grows and she launches it. Excellent. Unfortunately, the archer dodges out of the way. Oh, no, I gave them disadvantage. That's a 10. That actually hits. Go ahead and roll damage. My bad. I said things and then ignored the things that I said. I like made rules and then didn't follow them.
Roll the damage.
So you click the spell and it should put something in chat. Yeah, there it is. 5 points of damage. Okay.
Hold on there, little kitty cat.
There you go. Yeah, so it's not a huge hit. It's just like a bit of a like zing that sort of rushes by and hits sort of wings the archer, bringing us back to Silas.
Silas is going to turn and see Roz fall, and look back at the guy who's, missed a couple times, and he's just going to straight move away.
Okay.
So the guy will technically get an attack of opportunity, which is fine.
Okay.
I'll take it. So roll that.
Yeah, that's a 9 to hit.
Yeah, he does not hit. So as he's moving away, you furiously see Silas spinning his wand in his hand, and a red bead starts to emanate from the end of it, and I'm going to put a fireball right in the middle of these fucks.
Okay.
It's a radius of 20 feet, and it should
Yeah.
hit all of them. I measured.
That's
8.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing for you that I did for Beast.
Yeah.
Kaboom! We're going to give you control of that, Jesse.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
How do I move it? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so it's going to go right on top of them. It's 8d6.
That is, that's everybody.
They need
Okay,
a spell save of 16 on a dex save.
Okay, hang on one second. I'm going to copy these tokens back over to the spell page
You're fine.
so that you guys will just auto have control over them when I copy them again, and I won't have to do that.
You
No,
got it.
that's not what I want. Just with that. You come here. Bloop.
27. Okay.
Okay. Much easier than cardstock, right? Okay, so all right, so I got to make some dex saves for these thugs.
Yeah, or they take 27 points of damage each.
Alrighty, I'm gonna go top to bottom. What's your save DC?
16.
Okay, first guy makes it, second guys fail.
Okay.
We're gonna send that to the back. Bloop, like so I can see everybody. All right. Oh no, there's one more. I gotta make one more.
Okay.
There were 4 guys in the radius. Last guy fails too. Okay, so first guy, half of 27 is 13.
Yeah.
And the other 2 take 27. Woo! Okay, so he spins up a mode of light on the wand and launches it. What does the fireball itself look like?
Yeah, it's a very bright kind of almost like these arcane kind of Full Metal Alchemist circles kind of coming off of the circle where it lands and then just emits.
Yeah. Excellent. So it is a quick like flash fire. It doesn't persist very long, but it does burn them all very badly. They are not dead, but it poofs. I am going to real quick just bloop move that elsewhere.
It also ignites things that are not being worn, so probably those wagons go up.
Yeah, probably the wagons go up. Okay, give me 1 second.
You're fine.
I feel like that explosion also probably dissipates the stinking cloud.
Well,
it says a strong wind. No, I'm gonna say I don't think it really does. To be honest with you, I want to put these. Okay, we got some. Probably catches. Okay, yeah. All right. So some of these wagons get caught on fire by all of that. Great.
Okay. So for my bonus action, I'm going to cast Misty Step and land on the, this is up to DM discretion, but it does say just by sight. I'll move if I have to get closer.
Yeah.
Misty Step on the back of the archer's horse.
So I do think when you cast a spell that has a level to it, like Fireball does, I think if you have another spell that's a bonus action, it has to be a cantrip or lower, or it has to. You can like so basically in 50, you can only cast one spell of a given level on a turn, unless you have action surge, unless one of the spells is a cantrip. So for instance, casting like spiritual weapon and a cantrip will work, but doing like Fireball and Misty Step won't.
I understand. Okay, let me ask you a quick question. Does it being innate matter? Because I do have Fey touched, and that's a little bit different.
Okay.
See what I mean?
Does the effect of haste also?
Well, haste allows you to make an extra attack that can but it can be like one. You can take like a dash or a single weapon attack.
I still have that. I'm still working on that.
Innate.
Interesting.
You know
question.
what? Yeah,
okay,
I mean, look, taking
no.
a feat instead of an ASI is a big investment. I'm gonna say that can end run around that. I'll allow it.
You see just Silas disappear, and I will land on the back of her horse.
Yeah. So Silas poof.
Yeah.
Poofs and then poofs
and
again.
Use my final action to jam my saber through her chest, or attempt to.
Yeah. Go ahead. Give it a whirl.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you advantage on this because she is definitely gonna be surprised. Did not expect you to land on her horse like that. So I'm gonna.
Okay.
Don't forget Bardic Inspiration.
Yeah. 18.
18 hits.
6, and I can add another 6 to the damage, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a Valor Bard thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. So 6 plus a 1.
Okay.
But Oh well.
Okay, so yeah,
7
you
points of
go
damage.
to run it through the chest, but she still does have plenty of HP. So you like start to dig it into her back, but she manages to kind of like twist, and the armor catches it and deflects. But you do score a nasty cut as well.
And now I'm riding bareback, baby.
Yeah. Okay, so that is Silas action, bonus action, and haste action. That brings us to Soren.
Yeah. Soren, seeing all this kind of calamity in the span of 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Is okay. Well, and Cat uses a spiritual weapon to try and kill this dude who's taken the world's worst beating right here, who survived the saving or who passed the saving throw.
Okay.
So that's bonus action. He doesn't need to use a spell slot or anything for that. That automatically just
Okay.
something
He
can
uses
do.
what now?
Spiritual weapon.
Ah, yes, correct. Okay.
Yeah.
So make that attack.
That's a 15 to hit.
15 hits. These guys are not terribly well armored.
10 force damage.
Whew. He is looking pretty rough.
Picking up the scraps. And Soren casts Guiding Bolt at the bandit captain.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
And Soren's going to cast it at 3rd level.
Ooh, nice.
That's a 19.
19 will hit. You don't get the extra
He
crit damage, but...
Can we take the higher one? No. Then that's 15 damage, and whoever attacks him next has advantage.
Okay. So, yeah. What does it look like as he casts Guiding Bolt?
I think he straight up like starts like spinning his hammer like Thor almost and like flings it. And the hammer itself doesn't collide, but the residual energy of it coats him and kind of light just begins to reflect off of him almost like the moon. So it makes it easier to see.
Excellent.
And like easier to track.
Yeah, and he takes a good bit of damage from that and grunts in pain and is now illuminated. So there was action, bonus action, a movement from Soren.
Yeah, Soren is going to. He's wearing armor, so he can't fly, which is a huge bummer. But Soren's going to get into melee. Okay. He's going to try and pin this guy.
Okay. Gotcha.
Just make sure he doesn't have anywhere to run.
Yeah, so you guys are moving in here. Okay, the thugs, the 3 of them in the cloud need to make con saves. What's the DC, Beast?
15.
Doesn't matter, they all fail. It's a 6, a 9, and a 5. So these guys spend their turn vomiting.
They are also all poisoned.
They're all poisoned. So we'll give them little poison indicators. They cannot take any, like it says they use their action to retch, is that right?
Yes, if they fail the con save on each of the turns that they've started in the cloud, they lose their action to basically puking that turn.
Yeah.
And they suffer the poison condition.
Okay. So they're poisoned, and how long are they poisoned to?
Until they succeed a con save.
Okay. So 2 of these guys, I think, are in a position to get out of the thing. This guy, I'm going to roll a dice. Somebody, actually, we'll give it to Beast. Give me high or low.
Low.
That's low. So this one actually falls into the fire and takes only 1 point of damage for now, because like he's like leaning over and retching, but like grabs the burned cart and vomits into it. I am going to say he still does have enough to get out of the cloud. Because he didn't die, but he does take extra burning damage from just like holding onto the cart while he was vomiting, and it's like burning his arms as he's just like smelling ammonia cat piss. Jesus. Okay, those guys all lose their action. This one, however, he just got lit on fire, but the bosses still do going strong. So he is actually going to run over. He has just enough to get to Enna. And take, that's not the right person. This is right. Take 2 mace attacks. I don't think 9 is your AC, is it?
Nope.
Yeah. So he's been on fire. His friends are vomiting. He can smell the faint smell of cat piss. And he swings wildly at Enna, hoping to just like, I don't know, intimidate you or something. But you can tell that the swings are clumsy at this point. He's freaked out. You guys have magic. You're lighting shit on fire and moving like faster than the eye can see. And summoning Thor hammers made of moonlight. And so he just like can't get it together.
Does spiritual weapon get an attack of opportunity?
It does not, no.
Okay.
Unfortunately. Okay. That is the thugs. The most of them could do absolutely nothing thanks to Stinking Cloud. Raz, you are up.
Raz is going to
No, that doesn't function. No, I was about to say I do have Warcaster, but no, that's if someone provokes an opportunity attack from me, I can use a spell instead. So
Right.
Yeah.
Raz is gonna look around, stand up first of all.
Okay. Raz is no longer a broken back sad man.
Yes. And Raz is going to see Silas on the back of a horse and you know, this is no time for riding ponies. Going to step into melee with the thug who has confronted Enna, but instead is going to use vicious mockery on the bandit leader.
Okay. Yep, you're in range. Okay. That's a wisdom save, I think. What's your DC again?
It is a DC 15 wisdom save.
All right. God, this bandit leader. His men are in shambles, but he's a fucking tank, unfortunately, friends.
Yeah, Roz is going to say something like, your ancestors were likely well-fed and glorious.
My ancestors are smiling on me, cat. Can you say the same?
Yes! And Roz will grant bardic inspiration to Perdita. House cat, finish off these fools. The rest of them do not come from bloodlines glorious enough.
Okay. And I just want to check in real quick, folks. So I normally end these streams at about 10. I'm game to go ahead and try and mop up this combat if you guys want to stick around. But if someone is like a hard, like I need to stop, go to sleep, I have life to live, we can do that if you would like.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Everybody good?
Yeah.
They're good here.
We're good.
Cool. All right, just wanted to check in. Didn't want anyone to feel trapped. The TM won't let me live. So, okay. So Raz has given bardic inspiration to Perdita, attempted to mock the dude, which did not suffice. Any movement? Oh, he moved up into melee with that other guy.
Yeah, she took a step down.
I'm sorry, my bad. Took a step down. Okay, Perdita, you're up.
Well, let me tell you what I would like to do, and you can tell me if I can actually do all of it, all right?
Yeah, go for it.
I need your help on this one. Seeing that fellow moved out of that cloud, and I want you to consider something for the future, which is, would that cloud really affect Perdita in a future circumstance, since she actually is a tabaxi and we're talking about cat urine? But you can ponder that, Monsieur le DM, because that doesn't involve this situation. I would like to leave my hiding place and actually to combine my movement with my which one is it? My cat's claw, and actually climb up on the horse next to that nasty person, and then I want to attempt to get it in range with a short bow.
Who are you shooting with a short bow?
The man on the horse right next to me. Not short bow, short
But you're gonna
sword.
climb onto the. Okay. All right, I was like, you're gonna climb on the horse and then shoot him
I
with a
want
bow.
to like parkour off the log onto the horse to the back of the fellow
Gotcha.
and hit him with my short sword.
Did you
Just
make a stealth check last round?
Yes.
Okay, I am gonna give you advantage on your athletics or acrobatics check to hop onto this horse.
I
But
will
it
say
is.
that
Go ahead.
what Trish is invoking mechanically, the Cat's Claw Tabaxi racial ability gives Tabaxi a climbing speed of 20 feet.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am still gonna make you roll for it because it is a like moving, bucking, riding war horse kind of thing.
Well,
So
I'm going to use my acrobatics.
okay.
And I'm attempting to get up onto the horse with the little booger.
But yeah, you have advantage. Oh, for sure. Yeah, 22. So what does it look like? We should say Perdita is not like a lithe, sleek cat. Perdita is like a bit. Well, I'll let you characterize it.
Well, I am a tortoise shell, so I'm beautifully colored with many different colors. And half of my face is black and half of it is orange, and I'm very proud of that. But oh, I have these muscular thighs, and in accordance with that also, my tail is quite thick and fluffy, and well, it's strong. If it would wrap you, you would feel it. So I leap up and I push off with my very strong thighs. And I go up the back of the horse, clawing the horse a bit and probably making the horse uncomfortable, but I don't really care because I'm hungry. And it's taking too long. And then I leap onto the back of the horse with my short sword. Then, yes, I'm going to plunge it into whatever place I can see in that armored individual that,
Yeah.
well, he'd be
And
vulnerable.
you have advantage on this, certainly from being hidden in the circumstance as well. So go ahead and make that roll with advantage. That's a 25. That'll hit. You will get sneak attack on this.
Also, remember Bardic Inspiration.
And which does it go to? The damage?
You may choose to add it to your damage to roll an additional d6.
Because of the type, normally that's not a thing, but because of the type of bard that Raz is, you can in fact do that.
So I'm going to do my short sword, and that's a 6.
Okay.
And then
then
I'm
the sneak
going
attack.
to add sneak attack. And that's another 6.
Okay.
And then I'm going to roll another d6. And that's some 1.
Okay.
So that's 13 points of damage.
Okay.
Roz
And
needs to
you
work
have
on her
leaped
inspiration.
onto the horse.
Well, the
That was-
other thing that I wanted to know if I could do, that you'll have to tell me if I can, is can I use my cunning action to disengage and the rest of my action to get off the horse, or do I need to
Yeah,
stay
so
there?
getting off the horse is movement more than action. It takes half your movement to get off of a mounted creature. And you do have bonus action disengage, so yes, you can do that.
Well, not being
and it
sure
took you
where I'm
about
going
10
to be-
feet of movement to get up here in the first place, so.
Well, I'm not sure where I'm going to be needed next. And I see that owl is coming in for more action, and I don't wish to be in it, so I'm going to return to where I
Okay.
was.
Okay.
And I will wait patiently but very hungrily.
Okay, that is Perdita. We are up to Farren. You are next.
Let's see. Not that.
You just flurry of blows. Just whack, flurry of blows.
All right. I feel like Farren kind of frustrated with how long it's taking to do like any significant damage to the leader.
Yeah.
Would there be a way for me to I guess get on the horse, grab onto this man and hit just a couple of times, just straight up
Yeah.
like grab onto him
Um,
and punch a couple of times.
I am going to say in this circumstance, it will take an acrobatics check to get up there. Unless you have any other abilities that allow you to like teleport or fly or anything like that. But
Also, do your air genasi thing. Your
I think I'm just gonna go acrobatic.
Okay. Yeah, so just make an acrobatics check. And if you 13, I'm gonna say I don't think 13 is quite high enough to do it because it is a horse and this guy is like a mounted combatant, so he's good at controlling it. I will let you spend a key point to gain advantage on that if you wish. Or you can just that doesn't take your action to do or anything. So if you just want to take your attacks from down here as normal, that's fine. But if you want to spend a key point to get up there, I will let you try and roll with advantage. You will have advantage on the attacks if you can successfully mount the horse. So that's your trade-off there.
There's also, does Guiding Bolt do advantage for every attack until my next turn, or is that just the following?
It is the first attack, I believe.
Oh, yeah,
I'll double check Guiding Bolt, but
yeah. No, I think you're right. I think it is the first attack. I think,
and I think that would have been Perdita's attack.
Yeah,
so,
Perdita got that.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
I think I am just realizing that I can't climb onto the horse. I'll just wherever I can hit on this guy.
Okay.
Can I still do Fury of Blows?
You can.
Yeah. So you take your attack action, you get 2 attacks, and then you spend a key point and get Flurry of Blows.
Okay, so
And you can take 2 more with the key point.
So just a regular attack.
Yep.
And
Do
go
that.
ahead.
Okay, 12 does not hit. 16 exactly hits. Okay.
6 there, and then Flurry of Blows gives you 2 more attacks. It costs you a key point. God, the dice are not working for me today.
Just a
Oof.
tiny little Farren. Just yeah.
Punch up on like a Clydesdale.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this fellow again, the rest of his troops are a shambles. He should be like intimidated or freaked out by all this, but is basically just like very good at this and is like dodging and blocking. But one of your strikes does get through. Okay, this archer, Silas is on the horse. I think they are going to attack Silas, but I think they're going to have disadvantage trying to attack like behind themselves. So, well, they have a +6 acrobatics. So they got a +6 acrobatics. I'm going to give them a chance to do an acrobatics check to like turn around in the saddle to face you, and get rid of that
Okay.
disadvantage.
I'm here for it.
That is a 15. I think 15 is probably enough. I think that would be the DC for this. But they don't get Archer's Eye or multi-attack. They are just going to short sword at Silas. You do still have all your crazy AC. Does a 19 hit?
No.
God.
Yeah, I know.
Fucking wizards, man.
It's pretty stupid.
It's pretty crazy, but that's all right. I mean, subclass choice is a very large investment, so that's that's the payoff. Okay, so she turns around, and you still are just so freakishly fast that you're able to dodge those attacks. What's the thing to do here? I guess technically she still controls this horse. Well, she flipped around, so I'm going to say she doesn't control the horse. And the horse now has 2 people on it. So I am going to do just a random 1. I think 1 is directly south. I think this horse just runs this way. I'm going to have it make a dex save to see if it hits that rock, because I think it's probably freaking out by now. That's a 5. I think it hits the rock. Both you and the lady need to make a dexterity saving throw. I'm going to say DC 13 to stay.
Is it, just let me add, is this an acrobatics check? Because it makes a difference with Blade Song.
What kind of difference does it make?
So with Blade Song, you get advantage on acrobatics checks as long as the Blade Song is up.
Okay. I would say acrobat. If you go acrobatics, so will she. So I think
that's fine.
We can do acrobatics instead of dex saves.
Okay. So an 18
and a 25. Okay, yeah. So you both manage to. I'm gonna say the horse does fall, so you do come off the horse, because it is now prone. Where's its little sad man? But you both land on your feet and don't take any damage. But you also did get probably thrown like forward a little bit here. I'm going to say you guys are like right there as the horse fell. And the horse is going to take falling for horses is not good, but it only takes 1 damage, so it's really not that bad. Okay. That all seems fair to me. The P Cloud has 3 turns remaining. Ew. The Gladiator is going to, or the Bandit boss, is going to... Shit. I mean, he's doing well here. Oh, this guy no longer has that thing. I think he's going to keep going for... It sucks, but I think he's going to keep going for Farren because I think he smells blood in the water and feels like getting you unconscious is better than spreading damage around to a bunch of people. So... does a 17 hit?
Yeah.
Damn, I'm so sorry, Farren. For 10 points of piercing damage.
Ouch.
And then I don't think he can move forward through you guys. Well, I don't know, actually. No, I think he can. What's
Pretty sure
the
he has to
move
make
here?
a check. I'm pretty sure he has to make the horse has to make an athletics check. If I'm remembering right.
Oh yeah, he would kind of be moving through your square a little bit. Okay. Tell me about Stinking Cloud. If he moves through Stinking Cloud in a single turn, does he have to make saves or
No,
just
it's
starts
only
his turn
if a
there?
character starts entirely
Okay.
within the cloud.
What's the and the horse has? Sorry, I know this is getting a little esoteric. Hey, quit that. The horse has a movement speed of 60 feet and can dash. So I think he is going to try to regroup. He feels like he's getting, piled on here. So I think he's going to come south. Soren will get an attack of opportunity. And he's going to come over. He's going to come up.
He also leaving Farren's.
He will here in a second. Yeah, I think. Because I think what he's going to do, he sees his archer. Oh, where does he go?
If he's going to, since I have Warcaster, I'm going to use Inflict Wounds
Oh, Jesus,
as
yeah.
he leaves my.
Woo!
I'm going to hit him with that at level 3 as well.
These guys
Do
are
it.
fucked. I think he's going to go over next to the archer and try to attack Silas. But Farren
That's a 25
That is going to hit. Yep. And Farren also
for
gets an attack of
36
opportunity.
damage.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah!
Okay. Farren, you get an attack of opportunity as well.
Farren also has Sentinel.
Oh, God.
Do it, do it,
Make
do
your
it.
attack.
This is a critical moment. Did Farren used Bardic Inspiration already, right?
I don't think Farren got Bardic Inspiration.
No, yeah, you're right.
No,
Farren
it's
didn't.
just Perdita.
Perdita and
Okay.
Anna and
And Silas. Yeah, I have one more.
okay.
And you have a key point that you can use to increase your roll. You have 1 key point left in case you misses because you have focused aim. 15, spend your key point, bump it up to 16. And that'll
Doesn't
hit.
focused aim do 2?
Oh yeah, it'll bump it up to 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, if you spend the key point, you can lock this guy. Oh. Yeah, you can, because like he as a mounted combatant can force the attack to hit him. Would that mean that his horse can
Are you
still
punching
move?
the
though?
horse?
I honestly think that still means the horse could move, because as a mounted combatant, you can Sentinel would reduce a creature that you hit with an attack of opportunity speed to 0, but he's not using his speed; he's using the horse's speed. And even if you try to hit the horse, he as a mounted combatant, because he has that feat, can make it hit him instead. So I think the horse honestly can still move, but you would still do damage. So it's up to you if you think that's worth it. He is looking very rough.
I say hit the guy.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna hit the guy.
All right. Go ahead and roll that damage. Oh
That's a
my
7.
God, 7. That's so much. Okay. He can still move, so he is gonna... Oh man, what? He can't go through the fire. He'll take more damage, so he is gonna rush up here. Oh God. He can't go past you guys. He's gonna have to engage into melee with these guys, honestly, because
I see you have
he'll
found
take more
the
attacks
most
of
worthy
opportunity.
opponent.
So he is gonna attack Roz. Good lord.
Oh shit.
But he is looking extremely rough, gang. It's a very
That
bad day
inflict
for him.
wound. Ooh, that felt
That
good.
inflict wounds was nasty. Okay. He is gonna he's gonna use his spear on Roz. That is an 18 to hit
Yeah, that hits.
for 16 piercing damage.
I'm down.
Damn.
That's 6 lives left.
Okay, and that was like 45 feet. Hang on, I need to just real quick okay, because he has movement left. I don't think he's gonna stop there. So he gets 50 feet. Yeah. He gets fully into this whole situation and seems to be starting to like turn the corner and try to run. He is very badly wounded. And he's sort of like starts to lean a hand down towards the archer and say like bail, shit, bail. It's not going our way. Okay, that is his sad and painful turn. Anna, back to you.
Okay, so this guy rolled up on Anna, and it triggers her because it makes her uneasy the way he ran up on her. But it triggers her in a way, she becomes so irritated. She goes, "How dare you roll up on me like that? How dare you even come this close to me?" So she's gonna cast Burning Hands. I want her to cast it so where it doesn't like hit Roz, because I know it's
okay.
Like
yeah, so let's talk about that. You can. Do I have Burning? I do. Okay, so we have 2 options here for Burning Hands. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Okay, so Burning Hands. If you cast Burning Hands directly in front of yourself, it will go like that. What you could do instead is move into the square next to him and cast it like that. Like if you move north 1 square, you will miss him.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so you can move up there. I'm going to give you control of these things and then put them back on the other place. We'll just do this real quick. Excuse me. I really should have gone through and set up all these spell templates to just give you guys control of these in the first place, but I did not do that. So here we are, having to do it now.
Yeah.
Silas, do you have Burning Hands too?
No, I do not.
Okay, cool, great. So I only need to do hers. All right. Okay, so you cast Burning Hands. He needs to make a dex save versus 13 damage. So come here. Nope, that's not what I wanted. All right. DC 15. That's a 4. That's not going to do it. 13 damage. You describe to me how you light this man on fire and kill him.
Put my hands in prayers, but I have my eyes closed. But you see her opening up, and it opens up her eyes, and she says, "Fuck you." And then there's like a light glowing around her, and she just like lets it all go.
Excellent. Yeah, and so she unleashes this burning hands, and this guy is just immolated. And I feel like the fire is not really like red and orange. I think it's more like yellow and white, you know. But it is unlike like some of your spells are radiant energy, which is not exactly fire. This really literally is fire, and he literally really does burn. Let me see. I have, because I want to do this because it's fun. So Anna basically just is like, oh no, that's frost. No, I guess that would work. Yeah, there we go. Boom, lights this guy on fire, and he's down. He's down for the count, kids. Okay. Any movement or bonus action?
No, and it just smiles to herself and then looks over at Roz and then is brought back to kind of reality.
Yeah. Okay. Silas, that brings us back to you. You are beset on all sides. You speedy little fucker, you. What would you like to do?
I would first off like to move Charlie. He's going to land on top of Roz and just kind of like, he's a bird. It's not going to do much, but just protect where he can. Just kind of put his wings up.
Oh my god!
You know,
I love
it's
it.
not. Yeah, it's not much.
It's like
but as
puffing
that's
up.
happening, yeah, puffing up. Yeah, as that's happening, Silas is moving his wand behind him, and I'm going to cast Magic Missile at 2nd level on the big guy.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll.
So I roll 4.
Yes, I do it where you roll 1d4 plus 1 for each missile.
Okay,
I know some
so-
people do it where you roll 1d4 and multiply it. I think roll 4d4, like roll 4d4 plus 4, basically.
Well, okay, here. So 4 damage.
Yep.
And then 4 damage.
Yep.
And then another 4. And then 2.
Okay, so 4, 8, 12, 14 damage.
Plus
Yeah.
4 more.
No, I think that's included.
That's
Oh,
that-
okay.
that's
Gotcha.
all the missiles that come with.
Gotcha.
Hey, Silas,
Yeah.
tell me a story of violence.
Yeah. All right. So as he's facing down the lady with the archer, and the guy comes from the side step, he says to the archer, "Do you want to see a magic trick?"
Oh my god!
And three missiles emerge from his wand, and one by one pierce this guy. The last one going straight through one of his eyes. He looks back to her, who looks to him, who looks back to Silas, and then swipes her once more with the rapier.
Oh man, take inspiration for that, you
Yeah.
beautiful son of a bitch.
Does a 20 hit?
Yes, a 20 hits for sure.
Okay, and 10 points of piercing damage as
10
he just
points of piercing
slices
damage. Whew.
slices up her abdomen.
Yeah. All right. So he is down and slumps off the horse. I gotta move him over here just to slump him off the horse. I think he like slumps off the horse and hits the rock that the other horse tripped over, and then just like falls down. Okay. So that was action and extra attack. Any bonus action or movement?
I technically have that. Bonus action movement. Actually, I'm gonna face this woman down. I guess as my bonus action, I just say, "Can you do anything about it?" And trying to get her to ignore Roz, basically.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Make an intimidation check.
Oh, this will be fun. I'm a spindly little boy. No way.
All right. Well, that's a nat 20. I mean, she
Okay.
did just watch you like blast a man's eye out and kill him.
Yeah.
And all of you guys are freaks at this point. And so you honestly just straight up see like the fight go out of this woman.
Okay.
And you see her start looking for a way out. Like,
Good luck.
and I think she says like, "What the fuck, you fucking freaks? What the fuck?" Because like you guys, you know, just for context, right? Like the people who normally travel this road are like merchants and farmers and stuff, and they're mostly humans, right? And so this group of like owls and elves and cats and blue people and one normal guy. Except normal guy can run faster than the eye can see while singing weird elvish songs, you know, and light shit on fire. It's just like they have had the worst imaginable day. You know, they are used to being big fish in a small pond, soldiers like, you know, taking advantage of poor like travelers, and you guys roll up in here like calling down fire from the sky and immolating people. It's a bad time. So yeah, you can see she is now like just desperate to flee. Anything else from Silas?
That's it. Yeah.
Incredible.
That's plenty.
Soren,
Yeah.
what you got?
So Soren that hears this lady go like, "What the fuck?" and he's, what's your language? And he casts Moonbeam at the.
All right, take inspiration for that, you son of a bitch. Oh my god, guys.
He casts Moonbeam at the two dudes down here who have been like hit with the fireball and failed their saves before,
Okay.
so we're probably not doing too well.
Okay.
Oh wait, hold on. Wait, no,
What
he
is-
doesn't.
Okay.
Nope.
What's the area on Moonbeam, by the way?
Moonbeam is 5 foot radius.
Okay.
So but hold on, maybe he doesn't because Roz isn't doing too hot.
I gotcha.
He doesn't want her to suffer anymore. Yeah, I think he's actually just going to Healing Word. I think he's going to cast. Yeah, no, he's just going to do Healing Word at Rose at a 2nd level.
Okay.
That is 10.
Okay.
6 lives. And he's going to cast Sacred Flame at
Okay. Cool.
at the dude who he's been whacking with his spiritual weapon. Actually, I guess he could just use his spiritual weapon because he could just use his full action to use spiritual weapon, yeah?
Yeah, and then you could, instead of Healing Word, you would need to cast a different bonus action spell.
Oh,
Or
well, no,
like,
he's
you
not-
could
'cause he's
move
not
over and
casting
cure
spiritual
wounds,
weapon. He's just
Roz.
using the.
Well, but I mean, so the spiritual weapon, I think, takes a bonus action to reuse.
Yeah. So could I just use my full
No,
action
you don't have to cast the
Healing
spell
Word?
again, Trish, but it does take a bonus action to make the attack.
Yeah.
Um,
So can I just use my full action with Healing Word? And
You cannot, unfortunately. So if something is a bonus action, you can't like upgrade it to an action.
okay.
I thought.
Then just Sacred
is that
Flame,
a
I guess.
3.5 thing.
3.5 did not have bonus actions, I don't believe.
Oh,
It's
what?
kind of a Pathfinder thing too.
Yeah.
Where you can trade between actions, but
Yeah. All right, then
So-
just Sacred Flame.
Sacred Flame. Okay, sorry, I don't mean to be a stickler, but you know.
No, it's good.
Okay, so that's a dex save from this guy. He is poisoned. He has not had a
Well,
chance
hold
to
on a
make
second.
a save, so he'll have this.
How close is how close is? Oh, never mind. I got an even better idea. I'm taking all that back again.
Okay.
Walking over.
Yep.
Cantrip, spare the dying.
Oh, okay.
And then bonus action, spiritual weapon on
On that guy. Okay, cool.
on the archer.
On the archer. Okay.
Yeah.
Spiritual. So you move the spiritual weapon, and then it attacks the archer. Go ahead and make that attack roll.
That's a 19 for 7 points of
19
force
hits.
damage.
She takes 7 points of damage as this ethereal light mace or light hammer spins out of the trees and slams into her head. Great. Anything else? So that was your movement, some of it. Action for the cantrip, bonus action for the dingus. Anything else?
Nope. That is it.
Okay. All right. There are 3 remaining thugs who are still alive. They all need to make con saves versus their having been poisoned. What are your save is for 15, Roz?
Yes, it's a DC 15 con save.
Okay. And 2 of them are still poisoned. Let's see. Okay. I think they are all going to try to flee. So I don't have extra map over there. I can just make extra map. Stand by, kids. This map was not wide enough, and I need to just give it a little bit extra space here. Ka-chunk. And this is going to be kind of messy, but I don't care. We are just going to sort of there. You can have that, and you can be kind of like that. Whatever. Who cares? Nope. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, and you guys go. It's not the best work I've ever done in my life, but there we go. Back. Okay, so they start to run. Two of them do not have dashes, but one of them does. No, they're poisoned. I'm gonna make them move half speed. I don't know if that poison does that, but I think that's fair in this circumstance. So he just bolts. This guy can make it a full like 60 feet. These guys can make it 30 feet. And they are just fucking running. Because they'll get their action to dash, but they're moving at half speed. Okay, cool. So they bolt and flee. Roz, you are stable. But you are no longer making death saves. Perdita, you're up.
Well, Perdita is feeling all left alone. Everyone moved away. She looks over at her friend because they are friends, and she says, Farren, this is no way to begin this trip. Sighs, gets out her short bow and aims at the one who is directly to the west of her at 80 feet. That's in her range, and she shoots off her short bow.
Let's see. I think he's actually 85 feet, but if you move over one square,
I'll do it. I would have walked over to my friend to see.
Yeah.
I would have walked over there, and I'll shoot him now.
Excellent. Well, let her rip.
Well, I will when I figure out the difference between the sword and the bow. It didn't do its trick.
It did not. It may have asked you if you have advantage. Shrink your sheet and see if there's a little pop-up box.
No, there isn't.
No. Okay. Just click it again. I don't know. Sometimes Roll20 can be fickle.
Well, it's not. Would you like for me just to roll a d20?
Sure. Yeah. We can just do it that way. That's weird. Once your turn is over, maybe just try refreshing your Roll20 and see if that'll fix it. But for now, 8. Okay.
Oh.
Your mod is what? I can tell you what your mod is. +5, +7?
Probably at least plus
Plus
7.
8. Yeah, you got a +8. So 5 + 8 is definitely higher than 11, which this guy has.
Oh,
so
I
hit.
saw what I did. You know what I did? I clicked it under equipment.
Inventory. I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, roll. You will not get sneak attack on this, I don't think. Let me just make sure. I don't think. Yeah, you don't get advantage. So you don't get sneak attack, but go ahead and roll your damage. It's
So
like
it's a
1d6
D6.
plus 5 or something.
Oh,
Okay. What's your modifier to that?
+5. +5 piercing.
Okay.
So that's 6.
Perdita,
Yes.
paint me a picture of death.
Well, I sauntered over to my friend and said, can you believe we're having to go through all this before lunch? It's just silly. And I very nonchalantly pick out my bow and get one of my arrows and put it in place and aim it up. And I decide to put a little bit of an arch on it because I want to get plenty of distance. And so it arches up. And when it comes down on this poor fellow, it actually hits him in the neck, which suits me because he's not going to be able to eat anything for lunch either. And it kills him. And he falls down dead.
Oh, man.
And then I
love
look
it.
over at my friend and say, and that's how you do it before lunch.
Okay, so one of them gunned down while fleeing. Farren, you are up. What would you like to do?
You were within running distance of this person, if you want.
Of the archer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone else is kind of out of distance unless you want. You don't have any key points left, so.
No. Let's I'm gonna move towards the archer
Okay.
and just unarm attack.
Okay.
See if I can hit them.
Excellent. Yeah, so you get 2. Okay, so the 17 hits.
That'll be a 9.
That'll be a 9. And hang on, stand by. Okay, you can make a bonus action attack as well without spending key. Flurry of Blows makes it 2, but you can make an extra.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
so under your martial arts, where is it? When you use the attack action with an unarmed strike or a monk weapon on your turn, you can make one unarmed strike as a bonus action. For example, if you take the attack action and attack with a quarterstaff, you can also make an unarmed strike as a bonus action, assuming you haven't already taken a bonus action this turn, which you have not.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
but basically what Flurry of Blows is, you spend a key to turn that into 2 extra attacks, but you still can, like, basically every turn, if you don't use your bonus action to do something else, and you make an attack, you can make up to 3 attacks if you use your bonus action without spending any key. So you can take one more swipe, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yes, let's do one more.
Okay, that's 9. Did I take the 9 already? Shit. 18 hits. I think I did.
Another 9.
Okay.
Work the
Damn.
body.
The archer is really looking bad, guys. Okay. The archer is going to disengage, and I'm going to have the archer make an animal handling check to try and jump on this horse. It's not her horse, but it does know who she is. That's just a raw wisdom. 11.
It'll still, because Sentinel, it'll still engage opportunity attack from Farren.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I don't think she can even get on the horses, though, unfortunately. So, she tries to get on the horse. The horse does not allow her. I'm gonna have her make an acrobatics check to see how that goes for her. 18. Okay, so she basically ends up back where she was. It probably took 5 feet of movement to do that. And then she's taking a disengage. She is gonna run. You do still get Sentinel, so she can move. If she gets to move, she is going to move like there. But go ahead and take that attack. 21 hits. She can't move. She's stuck.
Boom.
That's another 9 damage.
Another 9 damage. Nice. So she
Here are
is
the
like
good rolls.
frantically trying to flee. What does it look like? How does your sentinel keep her there?
What is Sentinel?
It's just like a skill that you, because it's a feat, is something that you've like trained in your skill, so you know how to like immobilize someone when they try and run away from you.
Similar. I assume you've seen the like kung fu movies where they hit a bunch of different points, and they freeze. In a similar style, I am just wailing on this person. Very precise, very quick hits to them to keep them from moving.
I think it's like you lash out with a kick and like the point of your toe really hits them right in the back of the calf. So like one of their like leg muscles just like goes numb. And so as they sort of like stumble, you come in and do like quick jabs to the like side of the ribs to knock the breath out of them. And so when all is said and done, they're just not, it's like they turned around, they tried to get on the horse, and then the horse like bucked them off. They landed well because of their acrobatics and then just tried to run. And Farren just said, nope. You know? And in the end, they were not able to get away. Okay. I guess that means they wouldn't have used their action to dash. So she is going to take a short sword attack, probably at Farren, because you're not moving like a lightning speed weirdo. For 10 to hit, it's not going to hit you. So, okay, go Perdita.
When Perdita sees this, she hollers out at her friend Farren and says, "Oh, that'll work too to get an appetite going."
Excellent. Okay, the P Cloud has 2 turns left. The Gladiator is gone. Enna, what would you like to do? Roz is unconscious but stable, so is not going to like die on you, but is not in the fight. Everyone is turning to flee. And 2 of your friends are ganging up on this archer and just kicking the shit out of her.
Okay, so Enna's still a little on edge, so she is going to cast her favorite spell, which is Scorching Ray.
How did I know? Hell yeah.
I mean, you know.
Okay.
we love-
So that is 3 bursts of flame going towards your poor enemies. So go ahead and make those attack rolls and tell me who they're targeting.
Yes, I'm gonna target the archer and then
Okay.
the 2 fleeing.
The archer and what now?
The 2 guys fleeing.
Okay,
the
so like 1 hit each.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's like 120-foot range, so they're all in range. Okay.
I had to hit it 3 times.
Yeah, I am gonna say with that horse in the way, she probably has cover unless you want to move to like over next to this other horse. Like if you moved over like there, you'd have a clean shot at her. But trying to shoot through the horse, I think it's gonna be tougher for you.
Yeah, I'll move and.
Okay, and then these guys from this position. So I guess I'll say it to you this way. You've basically got a choice to make based on the environment, right? You can either have a good shot on her or from over here where you were, you could have a good shot on the other 2 guys. Well, you'd have a good shot on one of them. They like them having cover basically just means they're a little harder to hit, not impossible. Or you could have a clean shot on her. So she's probably the biggest threat, but if you move over to where you are, you're kind of gonna have to shoot through the trees at these other guys. So just up to you who you want to have the best shot at.
Okay, I'll move Enna back since the archer's been ganged up on.
Okay.
I think she's probably okay. I'm gonna shoot for the 2 guys fleeing.
Okay. If you move maybe down closer to like here, I bet you'd have a better shot. Well, yeah, you'd have a clean shot on both of these guys if you move down, just not on her. So. Okay.
Okay.
And we'll do it north to south. So first strike is going to be the archer, and the second one is going to be this guy over here. Third one's going to be that guy over there. And we'll just do that way if you just want to hit it 3 times. Okay. Okay, so with the +2 AC that she gets from partial cover, the 16 does not quite hit. And I think at this angle, it ends up hitting this bush and catching it on fire.
Okay.
Hang on. This. Okay. Can I not? No, I can't. All right. Yeah. So you catch the bush on fire. Bloop. Come on. Do that. Beep. Okay. There we go. And then, so that one misses, but the other 2 do hit those other guys if you would like to roll. To roll the damage on it, it's click in the chat, not in your character sheet, but over in chat, click where it says Scorching Ray, and it will roll the damage for you. Okay, 8 fire damage and 8 fire damage. Okay, yeah, so both of these guys, Enna, write me a Symphony of Pain.
Okay, so Enna is very chaotic right now. She's done with everything. So she just she clenches her fist. She murmurs something to her god person deity. And is
to her saint, in this setting. It would be Saint Tathan.
I say, please forgive me for I have sinned. And then she just glows in fiery, bright light and just lets everything out.
Love it.
Yes.
Take some inspiration for that goth emo shit right there. Incredible. Excellent work. Okay. Yeah, and so you fire these scorching rays, and I think you just straight up burn holes in both of these guys. Like they're running, and just their back, just a fiery ray just burns like right through the chest. And again, these are fire. This fire is like yellow and white and bright, and not this like red and orange. And it just burns through these 2 dudes. A thunk thunk, one after the other. They fall. Anything else from Enna?
No, she's just standing there like.
All right, Silas.
Silas is going to look at this lady. How is she just overall? She looks like she's about to go.
She's in pretty bad shape. You don't think she's at like one attack will finish her off kind of level.
Right.
But
okay.
She is desperate.
Yeah, I do look at her, and Silas says, "How would you like to die?"
Please, I'm sorry. Please, we didn't mean it. I'm sorry.
He looks to Farren. He kind of looks over the horse at Soren. He says, "Put down your weapons, and you may walk out of here."
Oh, interesting. Because I will remind you, she put 2 arrows in your friend, and all of these people would have killed you. But okay, all right.
I know.
Okay. Make a God. I'm gonna give you intimidation or persuasion, whichever you prefer. If they have the same mod, I guess it doesn't matter.
They do.
Only in flavor, it kind of does.
I'm gonna do intimidation.
Okay.
It's a
7. I'm gonna roll an insight check for her to see. 9. Yeah, I think she just doesn't believe you. I think that's what you read in this moment. Is she's like, they want me to put my, like, I know I'm fucked, but like they want, like, they've lit all my friends on fire. That elf lady just burned holes in their chests. I saw it through the trees. Like they're fucking freaks. They're just gonna like torture me and shit because it's what they would do, right? Like I think that's her perspective. So I think you see, rather than drop her weapons, she was like blubbering and begging for her life, but she kind of like steels herself and resolves to fight to the end at that point.
Okay.
But that does not take your whole turn if you want to respond to that assumption.
So the one's still going. I see her reaction, and I am going to cast Magic Missile again at 2nd level.
Okay.
So that's another 4, 8, 12, 14.
Exactly the same in exactly the same order. That's wild.
Yeah.
Another 14. Whew. And remind me again, what does Silas's magic missile look like?
Yeah, so these long, whitish, kind of almost icicle-looking darts appear above, around the end of the wand, and as he pushes them through, they all go at the same time.
Yeah,
towards the top.
And it's very like anime. It's like thump, 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 like these 3 like darts that kind of like hit her, and she's that really takes the wind out of her. She is pretty on death's door here, folks.
Well, next comes the rapier. For an 8. Advantage because of Farren being on the other side, right?
I normally don't do flanking, but in this circumstance, because she's so desperate, I actually am going to go ahead and roll with that. Because I think Farren has, like, especially with that sentinel, like, half stun. I know Farren didn't stun her technically, but she's, like, hobbling and can't move. So, yeah, I think we'll take the 16 for 6 more points of damage. Okay, she is not quite dead.
Okay, hold on. I got one more thing.
Okay.
Charlie gonna fly on over.
Jesus.
And he's just gonna swoop in with his talons. Let's see what happens. For a 7.
Okay, 7 does not hit. Well, and even with
it.
advantage, sudden hit. Okay.
Nah, so.
Okay, so that is Silas. You see the woman again, resolves to fight to the end, whatever that end is. Silas hits her with some magic missile, stabs her, and stabs her, but she is like barely standing. Soren, what would you like to do?
Soren casts Cure Wounds on Rose. So let me... for 7 hit points.
Okay.
You have the blood of champions. And walks over into this grouping here and reaches into his pocket. And this is a 6.5 foot tall giant owl man towering over this severely wounded bandit. And he pulls out 10 gold pieces and he clasps them in her hand. Says, "Go home to your family. If I see you out here again, I will send you to whatever god you worship."
Okay. Make a persuasion check on this one.
Oh, did it roll? Oh, there we go. It's only a 10.
Okay, I'm gonna make
I
another
am
insight
giving
check.
her money.
Yeah, I'm gonna make another insight check to see how
$1,000.
that.
Yeah,
Oh.
what is functionally $1,000?
Okay, she rolled really well on that insight check. Okay, I think she maybe is starting to actually believe you because the giving her money thing, I think, is what like wigs her out, right? She's
Soren
like,
doesn't like hurting people. If
Yeah,
she's trying to dig
okay.
into his personality, he very much dislikes
so I'm gonna say we are still sort of technically in initiative here. All of you guys, you can tell she is going to leave now. Like that is clear, I think, to everyone. If you want to go along with what Soren has done and let her do that, she is trusting that you're going to let her do that. But like, I'm going to let you in initiative order decide if that's how you handle it, right? So, Roz, you would be up first. You have just been brought back to life. Soren is attempting to let this woman who is kind of, you didn't hear the blubbering and begging for her life, but you can tell she's ganged up on and absolutely going to die. If you guys want to make her that way. So what does Roz do?
Roz casts sleep.
Interesting.
Oh shit.
Okay. Roll those. It's not really damage, but roll the stuff.
Yeah. So...
And what is the range on sleep?
You're gonna.
The range of sleep is 90 feet.
Okay, but what it's like? It's like a certain space, right?
It is within a 20 feet point.
20-foot
but
point.
it begins with the creatures with the lowest HP. So to avoid Charlie, I'll cast it over the shoulder so that it clips.
You can put Charlie to sleep. He's okay.
Well, I kind of don't want to waste the die.
Oh, I understand. Gotcha.
Okay. Hang on a second. We'll just pop back over here. I think this is a 20-foot radius. 5.
Yeah, it looks
10.
right.
Okay. So I'm going to give you control of that. You show me exactly where you would like that placed.
Boom.
Okay. And how much?
18 points of sleep.
Roz and Farren fall asleep.
Who? What?
Farren, the Genasi, had 8 hit points left.
Roz isn't in.
Not Roz. I'm sorry. Not the. Sorry. The bandit and Farren fall asleep.
Okay. Cool.
My bad. So I don't think there's a save, right? It just happens. Yeah.
It just happens.
Correct. It just happens.
It just happens. So, Farren, you have been punching and kicking the shit out of these people, but you've been hurt pretty badly in this fight, as has this thing. So the two of you just sort of like sway on your feet for a second and then fall prone asleep, unconscious. And that is going to take us out of initiative. I am going to say, I think I'm going to call the session there, guys. We will deal with what you all decide to do with this unconscious lady and the bandits who you have slain in self-defense when we return in 2 weeks. So yeah, thank you guys very much for a delightful first session. If you did not get inspiration during this session, guys, please take it because everyone did a phenomenal job, and I appreciate all of your efforts for doing great stuff. So yeah, that's been the first episode of Siege of Castle Rend. My name is Pixel. We are going to sort of do our usual sign off here. I am the most oft GM here at Ages of Ainor. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, where this episode will go up in a couple of days. You can also find us on Discord. I'm going to put that in the chat and it will be in the YouTube description. We do like one-off games of D&D and things like that from time to time when we have people who are willing to DM. And we usually throw those open to the Discord for folks to join. Also, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/hammerandpixel. I'm going to drop all our socials in the chat now for those of us who have internet presences, where I do streaming of video games. I have been doing a stream of Dark Souls. I probably will keep doing that over the next week or so, and so on. We also may be starting other streams going on the channel sometime soon, so just keep an eye out for that stuff. And it's been a great time. And we will sign off. Trish, if you would like to remind everyone who you are and who you've been and sign off for us.
My name is Trish McFarlane, and back in the last century, I was a French major in college and graduated with a degree in that. And so it's been a long time. How am I doing?
All right. And Jacob.
Hi, I'm Jacob. I play Soren Fairtalon. I'm not Eastern European, so if you couldn't tell from the accent work. I have nothing to plug. I'm just real happy to be here.
Excellent. And Kinsey.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie. I play Farren Naraf. This has been a really fun session. I'm real excited to see where we go from here, and see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Excellent. Beast.
I'm Beast. I played Raz Hiskers, who died twice during combat and threw a jar of piss, a magical jar of piss. So tune in another 2 weeks to see what other hijinks Raz can possibly get up to.
Excellent. And Jesse.
My name is Jesse. You can catch me over at my channel, Spectro Sofa. We are on our way to 7,000 subscribers, so it's very exciting. But can we all just give a hand to Pixel for a minute for running all those awesome backstories? That was great. Seriously, that was as a fellow DM sometimes. That was impressive. And so just congrats on that. But as always, it's a treat to be here, and I'm excited to see all of you lovely people again 2 weeks from now.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I do appreciate that. And Taylor.
Hi, I'm Taylor. I play Anna, and it was a great first session. So thank you all for making it wonderful. The storytelling, the kick-assing, the killing, it's beautiful. Chef's kiss. Thank you.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. And I do also want to say thank you guys for taking the time to do this, and also for bringing so much character and everything to combat. I know a lot of times combat can get very I don't know, just more cut and dried in a lot of campaigns. But I think you guys really brought a lot of your characters to even the combat sessions and all the descriptions and stuff. So thank you all very much for that. It was a delight to DM. And of course, to anyone who's chatting or anyone who has watched this on YouTube, thank you guys for hanging out with us for this wacky fucking thing we do on Friday nights where we tell each other stories about magic and dragons and elves and shit. Honestly, it means more than we can say to have folks interested in our shenanigans. As always, you can find us on Twitter and Discord as well as Facebook. If you're interested in becoming a part of our little circle of folks who love RPGs and D&D. And then finally, I just want to leave you with a request from me to you. Until the next time that I see you, do me a favor and just be a little kinder to yourself than you think you deserve, because I promise it still isn't being close to more than the kindness that you actually deserve, friends. Have a good night, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Let me tell a tale of a world where heroes walk among us, fighting through the darkness left by monsters and by selfish men. A tale of glory rents asunder, sacrifice and battles lost. Our heroes know not what awaits them, and still they carry on. Let me sing a song of a family forged by trials and woe. On their own they falter, but together they